Okay. Yep, we're recording. Hi, everyone. Brian Kynes, as always, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting, world / whatever else you want to put behind there. We use Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition to play our game and tell our story, and all the awesome people around me help create it and write it one game at a time. I've almost got that down where it's damn near the same thing I say every time. Almost, maybe a little work, you know. We have Jeremy Keaton over here to the side of me. He'll be playing the role of Brahmus and, more importantly, Mirk. Down below him, we have the very agitated, very ready for answers right now, Sha-dae, which would be played by Sean. It's awful bright there. It's so bright, you got to wear shades where he's at. So right below me, Kara will be playing the mighty, the unimpressed, the sick of the bullshit and games, Tamyra. Wants answers. But while she's doing that, someone's still getting their drink on, and it's Sylowen. Sylowen's played by Heather. And then up above her is Alex. Alex got some love, man, from Kara last time, put her arm around her, healed her up a little bit, got the wooziness out of her. So almost feeling better. She's back, people. She's not going to be taking this shit laying down anymore. It's so the last episode that we played was very, very fun for me to go back and watch. It was neat to see the dynamics starting to unfold between people. What was great is that people were just automatically either I don't like them or they're great. There was no in between. There was no muddied water. It was interesting to see how it all comes up. Miasha has kind of showed some of her cards and wanting to know what is in this for her exactly if her life is threatened. Sha-dae has reminded her that, aren't you someone that needs something on down the line as well? And haven't you been trying to get a position on the Lai Lung for travel and things like that? So there's a dance going on between Miasha and feeling safe, doing something that she's not used to doing, which is having trust in others. Okay. We've also explored the fact that Dorbach has a lot more going on to him than meets the eye. Dorbach, of course, is the halfling guy, which they call the Spider. He runs kind of the underground here in New Gemdar, and is the lesser of an evil. If someone were to be in his position, we can accept that he's the one running this shit. It could be much worse. Because of his condescending ways and his high intelligence and the way that he talks about things, Sylowen's just not quite sure if she likes him very much or not. And it's going to be fun to see how that unfolds for me and everybody else. So, having said all that good fun stuff, let me get a little bit of mood music going. A little bit of background fantasy festival, such whatever it has to be here. Let's see what we got. Turn this up a little bit. Okay. That gets to be too loud. Can you all hear that? Okay. If it gets to be too loud, just let me know. Because we are in a loud place. There's actually bare knuckle boxing going on upstairs above us on this large second story kind of outreach in the bar that we're in. There's people throwing hand axes into large chunks of wood and thud. And then everyone just starts screaming and yelling and cheering over to the side. Sha-dae's been scoping out this room for quite some time. Lots of different games going on. All of a sudden, you'll be sitting there and we'll be looking at these cards that Dorbach has laid out for us. And you'll hear a slam real loud on the table, and someone's over there playing D&D version of Hot Hands. And shit's just getting exciting all around. Sha-dae seemed kind of unimpressed with this game. A poultry thing, you know. This is petty beneath me, as far as we could tell. Because we were wanting to move on to some other things in the game, I was going to have us do some simple checks to see how the rest of this one we were in plays out. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Kara and Jeremy were tied for first place with 2 points each. And then Sylowen, and you were tied with who, Heather? With Alex. Okay, and Alex had got 1 point off.
I think Alex got. Oh, did she? Yeah, okay. But I also had 1 point. Yeah.
Okay. So in saying that, overall, let's go ahead and just do some basic kind of checks and see how the rest of this plays out. Okay, we'll say another round of this goes on. And Dorbach seems to be impressed by the wit of the two that actually were able to get 2 lines out of the 3. And decides to have a second sudden death round, if you will. In this round in particularly, Jeremy, how many did you think you could get on this turn out of 3 lines maximum without cheating? Because Heather won't stand for that shit. What did you think you could do, buddy?
Well, now that I remember the rules of the game,
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
I'm going to go with 2.
Oh, and you're going. He's sticking with 2. He's hardcore. Okay, let's go, Brahmus. Tamyra, what are you thinking?
I call 2 as well.
2 as well. Okay, Sylowen, what are you thinking this time around? Now that you've had a chance to look at it,
I thought we were out. I thought we were just playing for first place.
we're just going to do this one more round to see what the points end up. We're going to do some basic rolls.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll just stick with 1.
You're just going to do 1 also again?
Yeah.
Okay, and Alex, now that you've had a chance to suck all that in from last time, man, how many did you want to try for this turn?
I think I want to try 2 this turn.
Okay, nice. Okay. And okay, and I think that was it. Sha-dae is still just sitting back. Just, is there anything you like to say, Sha-dae, as you see round 2, sudden death coming upon these people?
No.
Sha-dae is just here.
Sha-dae,
Oh, Sha-dae.
Sha-dae is just observing.
I just forgot who it was.
Just going to maybe look around and watch the axe throwing competition.
Okay. With this, I'm going to go ahead and say that Dorbach, with that kind of Christian Slater, Jack Nicholson kind of sly talk, kind of looks across y'all through those big black bushy eyebrows that he has, which are like human-sized eyebrows on a halfling, by the way. I mean, he's Eugene Levy all day. It's ridiculous, but sharp nonetheless. You know what I mean? He, you know, of all the ways I've described Dorbach, he'd also remind you of kind of like the most interesting man in the world guy. Just from the way that he shows a little bit of the fuzz on his chest and the big color and the vest and stuff. It's just his style. He is very charismatic in that way. As he deals out the next card, he goes, all right, if that's as brave as we're going to be on this last turn, let's go ahead and flip him, everybody. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to do wisdom. Okay. And actually, I'm trying to think, if you're doing performance, what check is performance, guys?
It's charisma, isn't it?
Is it charisma? Okay.
Yeah,
we're going to do charisma checks. Okay. Now, the more for the DC is basically going to be 10. And for every poem that you added on to that is going to add another dice onto your DC. I'm going to roll that, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. Okay. So we're going to start all the DCs at 10. Okay. For people that chose 1 extra poem, 1 line they could do. Okay. People that chose that they could do 2. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start just for the hell of it with Sylowen, since you had the least. Go ahead and roll me a charisma check and tell me what it is that you get.
Literally a charisma or performance. Okay, sorry. That's gonna be a 25.
25.
I got a nat 20.
Okay, so you created a DC of 20. You got a nat 20. Okay. So now let's do it this way. I'm going to say this is going to be insights for the rest of you. Okay. The DC is 25. If you're able to roll over 25, you know which line was bullshit. If you get under that, you're completely sold by what Sylowen did just now. So go ahead, Jeremy. What'd you get?
Just one, right? One roll.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a 12.
Okay, Jeremy is fooled by the lyrical genius that is Sylowen. You get a point. Okay, keep in mind you had one before, now you have two. Alex,
Mhm.
roll me an insight check and tell me what you get.
Okay. Mm. 21.
21. Close, but not quite. You get one more point there. And now Tamyra. Let's see if we can call her out. I know you get proficiency in some of this shit. So what'd you get?
Well, I rolled a 19, and then with my proficiency bonus, it comes out to be exactly 25.
She got you. So this, as soon as you thought you were smooth, Heather, everyone else thought, man, I couldn't guess it at all. Tamyra comes through in the clutch and knows the
Wait.
line that you made up and got you.
Real quick, I'm proficient in charisma, aren't I?
For your career, yeah. I believe you are as a bard, right?
So at 20, then I should get +6, right?
Well, you'd get your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. So
Yeah, so sorry, my charisma is +3, my proficiency bonus would be +6. So it'd actually be 26, but that's okay. I don't care.
oh no, it's
I
fine.
just wrote plus. Where's my pen?
She's like, when numbers get close like that, Heather's like, no, listen, this is what's going on.
Hold on.
Okay. So your
Okay.
proficiency bonus is 3 or 4 at this level. I think you're level 9, aren't you? So it's 4.
I
Or you're
mean,
level 8. Then it is
so
3.
it's 3. And so yeah, I'm +3 in charisma, then I would have +3. So actually I'm +6. So
it'd be
technically it'd be
26.
26, but
It
I'll
would be.
let Kara have it.
Well, I'll say that I got to give it to you, Heather. It's a clean sweep. I mean, sincerely, that's just how the game works. So you got 3 more points. So you have a total of 4 points. Keep that in mind, okay? All right, that's fantastic. See, even 1 it was a safe bet. Okay, now let's go ahead and go over to Oma. Okay, so Oma, you said you were going to try for 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be, what did we say this was? Charisma. This is going to be a charisma saving throw. And to do both of them and be able to come up with lines, you have to beat a 14. That's your DC.
Okay. Well, I got a 12.
What'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
I got a 12.
A 12. Okay. Oma once again is having a hard time letting the words flow through her body and coming in creatively. I'll say you're able to get 1 of the lines of the 2, but that was it. Okay. So with a 12 of the 1 line you were able to get, Brahmus, go ahead and roll me a insight, and you have to beat a DC of 12 to be able to find her out.
$14.
Okay. Brahmus is able to identify the line that you created with, and you got no points from him there. Tamyra, your turn. Insight, please.
19.
19. Once again, Oma just is too innocent natured and just makes this stuff sound like stuff that's around you, like you're looking beside you, and she's naming things on the walls and stuff like that. Sylowen, go ahead and roll an insight check, and let's see if you too can see through Oma's lies.
You said, so insight, so that's 13 plus 1, so 14.
You barely were able to, as you were caught up in the words of it and kind of liking the melody that she had created with the words. But then you think about, wait a minute, she just mentioned a frostworm in that line. That can't be something on the card. She just did that the other day. And you're able to see through it. And Oma sadly has no points added to the one that she already has.
Oh.
Okay, it's all good. She'll win in other ways, people. Thanks for being a sport. Then we'll go ahead and move on to Tamyra. Tamyra, you were going to try 2 lines. The DC just regularly is going to be the 10 plus the next one. Okay, it's going to be a 14. So go ahead and roll to beat a DC 14. Tell me what you get. And that's charisma.
Well, 19 is my lucky number. Rolled 19 plus charisma. It's another 4 plus another proficiency. So I was like 26. 20. It was high.
Okay, so 26. All right. So, Brahmus, roll for me. If you can be a 26, you found her out. If you can't, you have no idea what the hell she's done. She has just ninja'd this thing.
At most, on a good roll, I could hit a 25.
Okay,
Beat it.
that'll work, Ken. So there's one more point for, that's 2 points because you got 2 on that. Or 1 for him, but you fooled him twice. So that's 2 points. Okay, so Oma, go ahead and see if you can figure out what Tamyra is doing here.
Alrighty. $19.
19. And just for the hell of it, roll one more time. And Brahmus, you too, because there's 2 different lines there she's trying to sneak away with. So roll again, Brahmus.
Also a 19.
You got 19 twice. Okay, what was your, well, you still can't get it. Like you said, it's beyond her. Okay, so you have fooled all of them so far. Okay, so you have a total 1, 2, 3, 4 more points now. And now it's Sylowen's turn. Sylowen, people just seem to be grabbing at nothing on this one. You get to roll twice. Tell me what your total is on both times because she has hid 2 different lines in here, which makes it
even if I rolled a nat 20 on both of those, I can't beat it. So there's no point.
You can if you roll a nat 20.
Okay, we can try, but
That's what I'm saying. There are other things that can happen there if you roll a nat 20.
I got an 8 and a 19. So a dirty 20 and a 9.
Okay, so no. That's 6 points, Kara. Damn, added to your, how many from the other day? 2? That's 8 total. Jeremy, I'm just saying, this is it. Okay, so your DC to beat, you're doing 2 lines, right, buddy? Well, that's not bad at all. That's 14. Okay, you have to be a DC of 14 to be able to disguise 2 lines. Go ahead and roll your charisma thing, and you too are a paladin.
Now, do you recall, am I proficient with charisma rolls?
Yeah, you're a paladin.
Okay, so that'd be my +3, +4, plus roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeremy's like pausing time and running down Brahmus trying to find some poems in a book and shit, trying to cheating. That's cheating.
19.
19. Okay. So he's tried to bullshit on 2 different lines. Alex, roll 2 insight checks. Tell me what you get both times.
Alrighty.
That's good. Yeah.
So I got a 27 on one. And a 10 on the other.
Okay. So she got you. You fooled her on one of them, but she got you on the other one. So you only get 1 point from Oma. Okay. Tamyra, go ahead and roll me 2 insight checks. Tell me what you get.
Not as good this time. It was a 15 and then an 18.
Okay, 2 points from Tamyra as she seems to be lost in your lyrical genius. Sylowen, do or die time right here.
So 17 and an 18. So that's an 18 and a 19.
Okay, so you were able to get 1 point off of Sylowen as she figured out what the other line was, watching your movements and looking around. So if I'm not mistaken, after totaling all that up, that would mean that Kara owned this shit and completely took this one. So let's go ahead and play that out. Dorbach stands up and begins to put the cards away and holds out his hand to shake hands with you, Kara, and looks at you with a big grin on his face and looks at you with a large smile across his face, says, congratulations. And he sticks out his hand to shake it. What do you do?
I shake his hand and say thank you.
Okay. In this, do you wish to try to intimidate him at all? Are you trying to give him a little bit of a strong one? Are you trying to do anything odd other than just a regular handshake when this is going on?
No, because I tried intimidating him earlier and knew that did not work. So I just shake his hand like normal.
Okay. As you do, he looks at you, and he looks at you with a knowing look like he's expecting you to try to break bones for just half a second. And he's doing this as symbolically as trying to give you another shot at being decent to him. And you do this. As he does that, you see this bright-eyed kind of look come across him as he is glad that that has happened and has went this way. He knows that he may have wit and do other things, but when he puts his hand in another person's hand that simply could crush it, there's not a whole shitload he could have done. So he's glad that you chose to play nice in this instance. With that, he takes the deck and he lays it down and he says, for the winner. And he says, I do hope that you find your way into playing this again with the folks sometimes. And who knows, if I'm around, maybe I'll even give it a whirl and see if you can beat me.
Challenge accepted.
He smiles and pushes them across to you and taps them twice and leaves them lay there in front of you. That's a gift from him to you. Okay. As he looks around, he looks over at Sha-dae, which isn't really paying much attention to him. He looks over and he sees you eyeballing the big plank with everyone throwing these small daggers and throwing hatchets at it. He looks at you and he goes, so you're wanting to go over there and test yourself on that one, I have to assume.
Yes, it would be a little bit better than this poetry competition. My.
It depends on who you ask. I'd have to say if you ask Tamyra, she's pretty fond of it. He smiles in that way. He looks over at Brahmus and he looks your arm up and down a little bit and he goes, and what about you? Would you like to join over? I could have drinks sent over there beside it if you'd like to throw a couple hatchets at the mountain, kill some goblins, maybe kill some giants and trolls along the way. And you can see the way the board is decorated. He's talking about playing the game. What do you say, Brahmus? Do you have something else in mind, or would you want to go do that?
The moment Brahmus would stand up and just give him a nod, like, lead me there.
Okay, cool. Okay, and he says, and for the rest of you, is there anything that you were particularly seeing across the room that you would like to partake in, or would you like to go with your friends? Tamyra, what about you? You've been lucky so far.
I think I'll sit back and enjoy my winning high and just watch the rest of the people.
He smiles. Okay, he looks at you and he says, Oma, you have some making up to do. You got to show these people that you come here to win. He smiles and raises an eyebrow to you. He says, anything around here strike up any interest with you? and I can describe whatever you'd like. If you remember the things you've seen, all you gotta do is just let me know what you need, Alex.
Okay. I might try my hand at the throwing thing.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you. What did you say?
Oh, sorry. I might try
Okay.
my hand at the throwing thing.
Okay, cool. And he looks at you for a minute, Sylowen, and he looks at that spear that you have leaned over there.
Before he even says anything, I roll my eyes and I just walk towards Brahmus. I do not give him the time of day.
Okay. He smiles and he goes, wonder how much luck she'll have hurling that spear at the board. He says that under his breath as you walk by him, and he smiles, thinking about how comical it would be if you jumped up and threw a lance into the middle of that wooden playing board that they have over there. Does anyone promise you say anything to him, have a response to that?
I'll say I can almost guarantee you she'd bullseye every time. I almost trained her to throw it myself.
He smiles. This is a lot of confidence. With that, you two would probably head over that way. Sha-dae, you were the first one to leave the table, so I'll kind of explain to you what you're seeing. And mind you guys, if you grow tired of these games and you want to do something else, there's all kinds of things going on in this place. There's probably stuff going on if you want to walk outside for some air. If you want to go over to the other balcony where the boxing's not going on, this literally is whatever you make of it. Okay, just keep that in mind. All right. And I don't mind splitting up the party a little bit as long as we're at least on the same block, for God's sake. Okay. So with that, Sean, you make your way across. Are you bringing your drink with you? Or are you leaving it there? What is it that you're doing? What are you taking with you? You're muted, sir.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay.
I need
All
a
right.
clear head for these shots.
Okay, so as you go over, the band is set up to this space. There's, like I said, there's the two bars. Then there are many different kegs and things up on almost like sawhorses that are decorated to look like rams, which represent the name of that god, like I was telling you about before, the Dwarven god that this game's based off of. Rhojord, I think, was the name of it. And then you see the lane that has been set back and roped off to a degree. And there's a spot in between the two bars with the big barrels and things that are kind of pushed over to the sides. And it's been made room for this particular game. In front of you is this large board. It's about 7 or 8 foot tall, about 5 or 6 foot wide, large rectangle. It seems to be leaned up and propped up, large wagon wheels on the side of it to get it in place. And it seems to be, does everyone remember? It seems to be like a carved out mountain. And amongst it seem to be hiding different little carvings of creatures that have been placed and set on this. As there are different marks and other ropes laid out on the floor, backing different people up depending on their experience, their skill, and or what they're using to throw. You'll be able to aim at this, and it's a race to 5. First one to get 5 creatures off the board wins. Okay. Sha-dae, as you see this, let's go ahead and let me go ahead and get this out. Okay. Oh God, here we go. Here they come. Bam! Yeah, that's the good stuff right there. A long time ago, in a bar, just like this one here. Okay. So the owner of this game, he was there beside the person that had that helmet that you were drinking out of, Tamyra. And you can hear different people yelling out different names and stuff like that. As he's over there with a big hefty boot up against the board, prying out some of the different daggers and axes and different shit that other people have used throughout the course of the afternoon. You see Miasha walk up beside you, Sha-dae, and she says, well, I've noticed that you cannot play this game alone. It simply wouldn't do. You would need a competitor. And she says, I would offer a challenge to you if you would accept that is.
What be your challenge, dearie?
You said what now?
What's your challenge, dearie?
She goes, nothing more than that, just a quaint, simple game. All race to the top here. It seems that the first one to be able to hit all 5 of these wooden creatures would win this game. I don't know what the wagers are, but I thought maybe we could possibly make a side wager. Each one of us that hits one of these tells the other one a truth. If you're interested in that sort of thing, I don't know if you are or not.
Sure. In the spirit of getting to know one's companions, I'll take that bet.
Or simply the spirit of knowing the shape of the dagger that may be stabbing you in the back. She goes, you are not the only one you're not the only one trying to gain people's trust here. It's not just centered around one universe, but multiple ones under the same roof. She nods at you, and you understand her just here. She pulls out her chakrams from her side, these large circular bladed discs. And as she does, she says a couple words, Sean, in a language that you can't quite make out. And as she does, she makes some ticking sounds and a little bit of a whistle with her tongue. And as she does, normally these chakrams are bound together by a long chain, and they have purple and red ribbons that are wrapped up and around them. When she says this whistling and things like that, you swear you see the red one that is wrapped around these things, looks like it comes to life, almost like it was some kind of pet serpent or mink or something that was crawling about her. This thing animates almost like a magic carpet and unhooks the chains from that and wraps itself around her arm and comes up around her and forms some kind of like red textured glove that would be on her right hand that seems to have a very fine scale pattern on it. And she looks at you and she sees you look at it for a long minute and she goes, oh, trust me, I won't be using it to cheat in this in any way. I'm right in the middle of recording and doing this. What can I do for you real quick? Okay, they're right there. Go ahead and get them and I'll see you after a while. They were sitting right here, young lady. Got them? All right, shut the door behind you. Thank you. Okay. So with that, she stands there and a dwarf comes up and tall for a dwarf. His top of his head with his helmet off would be damn near right around where your chin is. But a very wide and sturdy dwarf. This dwarf in particularly seems to have a lot of tattoos, whereas he has what looks like a butcher's kind of vest made out of leather. And there seem to be these long teeth of some kind of large tooth creature that seem to be work as fasteners in between the vests, but just tattoos heavily like prison tats on his arms from his shoulder all the way down to his wrist. And he's even got a couple on his forehead that kind of look Viking in nature. Okay. And he looks up and he has a white beard that hangs down and is cut almost at a straight angle this way. Okay. No mustache, no anything like that. No braids, just straight white beard hanging down. And it's yellow around, underneath around his mouth would be like this. Okay. Like that age yellow. He looks up at you and he smiles for a long moment. I would like for you to roll a perception check, Sean.
Okay. Where'd my dice go? Shit, I had them.
Note for everybody, when playing D&D,
All right,
have
perception
dice
check. Okay, perception is not very good.
I don't have my regular glasses, so these are like $5 Walmart specials for reading. It's like I can see great down here. When I look at you guys, it's just a muddled fucking mess. So I've got to do old people. I got to do nose glasses. What was your roll, Sean? What was your
rolling
roll?
perception? It was a 7.
A 7.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that he has a dirty smile. Like there's something weird about his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't quite make out what the hell it is. His teeth seem to be darker than normal teeth for some reason. And you get a glimmer of something, but you can't make it out. With that, he looks at you and says, I'm Dunbrin. Dunbrin Stone Tooth, as it were. And he says, and I welcome. Well, that's new and fancy. I've never seen anyone use donuts to throw at the bard before. Hey, boys, donuts she has. And she looked at him.
Sha-dae chuckles.
Okay. As she says that, she looks at you and she shows a glimpse of being like hurt by that. And she goes, well, I can assure you that if you would try to take a bite of these, maybe you'd lose a couple more of those teeth in your mouth. No donuts here. And she gets very serious when she says that to him. He goes, nonetheless, want to see what they do to the board. Donuts. He says, and you, what kind of weapon would you be having?
May I borrow a few daggers, please?
I've got daggers for you. It's not a problem. And he comes over and he has a bucket full of them. And these are very crude. There's no wooden handle to them. They're all cut out of one piece of metal, kind of like fairground, but a very dangerous fair thing. They're not balanced too bad. You know, these aren't for cutting throats. These are for sticking in a fucking board. And it's funny, though, when you grab this dagger and hold it for just a minute, you have just a second where you think about the kind of iron daggers and the kind of things that these shadow goblins or whatever these creatures have been carrying. Your mind is so focused on that, even these small little things remind you of the bigger task at hand. As you do, and Miasha sees you staring at it for just a little bit too long. She steps back and gives you a very polite and gestured curtsy. She goes, your city, your rules. You may go first. So here's what we're going to do.
Thank you.
Okay. So are you proficient with daggers as a monk?
Yes.
Well, as a rogue.
Also, I'm
you definitely
proficient.
were.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So what we're gonna
proficient
do
with
is-
simple weapons.
Okay. I've got 5 different ones here, and they all have different armor classes that you have to hit to be able to get them. Okay. Okay. So first you have to tell me which one it is you're aiming at, and then you'll roll to throw, and you get 2 throws on your turn. Just a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on, be right back.
Yep, go ahead. Goblin, giant, troll. Okay. My God, what'd you do? I thought you were coming through the computer at us. Holy shit. All right. So when upon looking at the board, and Brahmus, is there anything you would like to say as you're looking at this in Sylowen? If there's anything you guys would like to say, any of you, while you're seeing all this go on, please jump in and say whatever it is you would like, okay? But it seems like the first round of this is going to be between these two. Brahmus, is there anything you're wanting to mention to any of them at that nature?
No, I'll just keep an eye out and just kind of watch how they're doing it, how it's played.
Okay. I want to mention that Tamyra decided to stay behind. So didn't Ignatius. Okay. And there will be a conversation that you and he will have in between scenes of this. Okay, Tamyra? And if there's something else that sparks your interest or anything like that, you let me know. Okay. Okay. So, Sean, of these creatures, and you know, the rest of you listen up because it'll be your turn eventually here. The giant seems to be the biggest one. This seems to be hanging on the side of the mountain, trying to climb to the top where there's this bronze symbol of a ram's head. Okay. The second, it seems like it wouldn't be too hard to hit at all. The second biggest one would be a large troll that seems to be going up and sticking its arm into some kind of cove, and you can see gold falling out of the hole. The third largest would be an ogre. Looks more like a half ogre that has a large battle axe that it is hefting of 2 hands, standing on a precipice on this actual mountain carving. The fourth one would be a draken. Brahmus, when you see that this board is an old enough game where it's still racist against drakens, and it puts them in the same category with all these other vile creatures, it gives you a pause for just a minute. I mean, the dwarves are proud and they have a history and they don't forget shit. And if they ever warred against you and you're an enemy of the people, you're on this board. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a tough pill to swallow. And then, of course, the hardest one to hit is there's 2 different goblins, or 3 or 4 different ones that seem to be poking out in different little spots behind crevices. They're hard to see and hit. What would you like to swing at first? You have 2 different daggers that you can throw here on your turn, Sha-dae. What would you like to aim at first?
Sha-dae would like to aim at one of the goblins.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an attack roll, and that is going to be your 1d20 plus your bonuses to attack with a dagger. If you have any feats or anything like that that you think you should be using on that, please explain it to me.
That is a 27.
You throw at the goblin, and you just miss it by about maybe 2 inches. As you throw at the thing, the dimensions of the board, and it's strange, this is a very old game. This thing is hundreds of years old. You see many different marks in it. But it fooled you. You really thought that would be simpler, but you just quite couldn't hit it. As you do, Dembrin, Stone Tooth over there, has a mighty chuckle. And he says, always going for the weak ones first. I get you. It's the stones that the bridge is built on. Am I right? And you feel a thud on your shoulder, Sha-dae, as these dwarves are here to play, and it gives you a polite kind of punch into your left shoulder. You can feel about that as you'd like to.
She just kind of glares at him just a little bit. And then she goes again to throw the second dagger at another goblin.
Hell yeah, man. Going for broke. Go for the hard ones. Bullseyes. Roll it, man.
Ooh, little better. That is a 29.
Okay. So on that throw, when you do it, you look like you would have clipped the nuts on the goblin. I'll say you're just about 1.5 inches more north than your other shot. And when you do, Dimberon and 2 of the other dwarves go, ooh, like that. And they grab their own junk because what they just seen you do to it says, man, that hurts me. I'll tell you, it may not have got points for him, but I'm sure as fuck he's shaved now. Good round on you. And he says, but not quite enough. Goes up and pulls the daggers out of the wood, and throws them back in the bucket, almost like they're just carefree, and says, and for the girl with the fancy hoops, you're next. And he condescendingly says to her, he says, if that would be a strange weapon, with not much quite of the distance of another one, I can move the rope up for you if you'd like. And he smiles. And now you can see to the side, he has 2 or 3 teeth in his mouth that seem to be made of granite, like a star granite that has some kind of silver and gold mineral imbued in them in part of his grin. Really striking against the white beard and thick tan skin that he has. When he says this to her, Alex, I would like for you to do an intimidation check. So roll 1d20 and a 1d6. Okay. Kara, just for the hell of it, for Miasha, roll a 1d20 and a 1d6 and tell me what your total is. And if it doesn't beat a 20, she's intimidated by what Demberon Stonetooth has said to her.
Give me a 13.
She's a little shaken. Okay. So on her first throw, she'll have a minus 1d4. Okay. Just for the fun of it here. Kara, would you like to go ahead and roll for Miasha today, just for the hell of it?
Sure.
Okay. I got her attack roll here. Just a minute. I think I do. Oh, that's Sylowen. Let's go on. Here we go. Ah, yes, sir. Okay, so you're going to roll 1d20 plus 13. Okay, so what would you like? What do you think she'd like to aim for here? You want to try the goblin? Seems to be the hardest. You want to start knocking off these big boys? What do you want to do here?
What would Miasha do? I don't know. I just
Well-
want to roll.
Okay. So I'm going to say that just to show up Sha-dae, her first one's going to go at one of the goblins. So go ahead and roll me a 1d20 plus 13. Tell me what you get.
It's a 27.
It's a 27, so you got the first time too, wasn't it, Sean?
Yes.
So as she throws that chakram and lands that sucker right there on that edge of that thing, she misses it because that had a -3 to it because she was intimidated. I rolled a 1d4 just now. Frustrated, she's going to do another roll, Draken, and this one, when she throws this one, she does a half flip, and she throws this one side-armed like this, hard. As you can hear a little bit of behind it as she does like a superhero landing with the hair flipped back on her head at the end of this one. Roll me another 1d20 plus 13.
Sorry, 23.
Okay. So as she goes through and swings that one, it misses as well. Seems like you guys are having a hell of a time. At that one, the dwarves kind of get quiet for a minute because when you look over at this one, she put, oh no, hold on. It hits. She put her weapon specialization one time around into it and got it to work. So that one hit the dragon and chopped pretty much the head off of the Draken, where if it was the Draken, it would have fell. As it does, there's a little bit of a silence and a hush over the crowd as she buried that ring deep into the game board. Demberon goes up there and looks at two of the other dwarves if they come over and give her this kind of, not exactly, they're just kind of this uncertain look to her as the two hold the board tight and they lock the gears on the wheels so they won't spin as Demberon wrenches out that chakram and takes it and looks at her. He says, so it isn't a donut. You've made your point. But try to keep this board in one place. It's older than your kin and their kin. You've made your point, dancer. And he hands her the ring back. And she takes it kind of politely and waits for him to let go of it before she moves it backwards. And she spins it almost like a gunslinger around her hand like that and pulls it back down to her side, and she gives you a curtsy. And it's your turn. Sean, is there anything you'd like to say at that?
Nothing. She just looks at her. Sha-dae is going to throw a dagger at the troll.
Okay, go ahead.
That is a 25.
That is a hit. You hit dead center into the middle of that troll with your first dagger. What would you like to do with your second dagger?
Go for the ogre.
Okay, he looks at you and he goes, if you can perform a headshot on the ogre, you'll get to go again because you've made both your shots. Good luck. Okay, you're going for the ogre. Go ahead and roll. Tell me what you get.
Yeah, that is a 28.
Wow, super good. Bam. And now you get a bonus dagger. Go ahead. You hit by better than 5 on that line. So you see Sha-dae now, Brahmus, and the rest of you sitting back here kind of watching this go on. Sha-dae is now in full tilt. Throws the 1, throws the 2. Knows she has a bonus dagger. Grabs it, flips it between her fingers, and lets a third one go. What
This
were
is
you aiming
going
for?
toward one of the goblins. One of the goblins.
Okay, this is the tough one.
Actually rolled a natural 20 on that. Natural 20 on that for a total of 31.
Okay, that hits. And the goblin
Mhm.
is off the board. As that happens, yeah, I rolled a natural 22 for the reaction there when people start cheering and singing, and even Roland on the violin stops for a minute that's performing the music, and a loud bunch of applause starts after what you just pulled off, Sean. This is like
Mhm.
you sunk the death cup on beer pong, and everyone is like super impressed around you. Tamyra, you guys hear that in the background. It seems like the group is putting on quite the spectacle over there. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say?
I'll walk over there to spectate a little bit closer.
Okay. As you get up to go, just really quick, just go through a line or two of dialogue that you and Ignatius had before you got up. So he looks at you and he says, in case anyone hasn't said anything to you yet, we all appreciate your worry. I at least know that I do. I'm sure it's not easy to see all this ale just kind of sitting around smelling as wonderful it does and not having a drink of it. I know that's not an easy way to go sometimes. And he looks at you and he looks over at Valdera, which is over in the distance, kind of doing something else. And he looks back at you and he goes, that wouldn't have anything to do with it, would it?
Tamyra gives him a look, and without saying anything, she just kind of nods as in a yes manner.
She goes, he comes over there and he hears the cheer in the background. He looks at you and he says, how would he put this? He would say to you, some people don't know the little things that heroes do, but it's the little things that heroes do when no one's looking is what makes them as such. And he smiles at you. And he goes, I think I won't have another drink tonight either. And he puts the cork back in his bottle. And he sees you get up and get ready to head over and watch the rest of them. So he's giving you a very decent compliment about your staying in your care for Valdera, and then he sees it. So just keep that in mind if you would ever need his advice or something like that. As a very high level cleric or anything, you could talk to him, okay?
And before I leave the table, I want to give him like the handshake. You know, it's a firm handshake, but then the politeness of putting your other hand over, you know, so touching both hands. So just like a very warm, friendly handshake.
As you do that, it almost be like handing like an Amish person like $100 bill. The reaction that Ignatius has to that, he would look at you and be startled for a minute, and then you would see his surprised look turn into kind of like a Mr. Rogers type smile, and he would say, "That's a new one. That's nice. Thank you." And he covers your hand awkwardly with his other one. He gives you like another shake too, as you guys would head over to see what all the fuss is. Okay. All right, good stuff. At that point, you're headed over to see what's going on. You see the dwarf pulling out 3 daggers that seem to be deadly buried in 3 different targets as Sha-dae has just brought the fucking house down. With that, you see a couple clinks and someone offers you another stein of that stuff that's in the horn. Sha-dae, what are you doing?
She politely refuses and says, no, thank you, darling. I need to concentrate.
with a smile. They say, fair enough. And just kind of walks over and keeps drinking beside you. They smell a bit. They're a little sloppy. Maybe you're getting a little mist off of them, but you know they're just there to have a good time. With that, anything you'd like to say to Miasha before she steps up and goes?
Nope.
Okay. As no words come her way, you hear her get in her stance position. And as she does, she starts humming something to herself. Sylowen, you would hear this. Oma, you would notice this too. And she seems to be going through a routine. And she slowly starts to move back and forth as she looks at this. And she takes the two chakrams and she holds them up and she starts to hold them up over the side and her side like this. And she starts to twist and look a little bit. And as she does, she closes her eyes for a minute and then she opens them back up with super focus and does a double throw, throws both of them at the same time. The first one, she's going to throw at the troll. Roll me a 1d20 plus 13, Kara.
It's going to be a 25.
That definitely hits that one. And now I'd like to go ahead and roll this second one as a combo attack with for the goblin. So roll this 1d20 and then add a 1d4 to this also. So you're doing 1d20, 1d4 plus, what did we say, 13? Okay. Tell me what you get.
So 27.
Misses on the second one. Still cannot find her way to getting that damn, that one. Oh, I can do a 1d6 once a day. Would she do it here? How prideful would she be in winning this? That's the question. I need to roll something to decide for her. Okay. Okay. Remind me, everybody, her 1d6 for the day is gone. Okay. So with that, that's exactly a 30. I rolled a 1d6 and got a 3. Okay. So with that one, she gets a bonus. And she has to sit there and patiently await. She's kind of let up, not poke it in there as much as she did before, but she was able to get the goblin. And now she'll go ahead and throw her bonus. She has nothing else to this. 1d20 plus 13.
That one's going to be a 18.
Okay. And that would hit. Well, hold on. I didn't call it out first. My bad. Let's say 1 through 10, she was going for the giant. And 11 through 20, she was going through the ogre. 1 it would hit, 1 it would not. Okay. So 1 through 10, giant, 11 through 20, ogre. No, she was going for the ogre on that bonus and missed it. Okay, with that one. So after that, there's a couple chuckles. There's a couple of things going around like that. She politely looks over and does a backwards cartwheel. And as she does, she has had a drink that she has picked up on the balance of her foot and brought her hand up to catch it and takes a long drink out of one of those horned chalices from around the group, which gets more of an applause than her performance. And she looks over Sha-dae's way and she goes, no sense in being so uptight. Might as well enjoy myself while I'm here. It's not like I have anything to worry about. And she just smiles and takes a step.
Sha-dae just nods.
Sha-dae, you have the giant and the draken left to hit on your board. 2 more left. You guys are tied 3-3. What is it you're doing?
First shot is going toward the Draken.
Okay.
That is a 28.
That hits with 3 to spare. Okay, you got 1 more to go. And if you hit the giant on this one, that'll be your 5. Go ahead and
Go for
roll.
the giant.
Yeah, definitely.
weapon specialist.
Here it is. Pulling out the hat of tricks. It's like, damn it.
Right? For a total of 30.
Jesus, we only needed 10 to hit the giants. A good job. So when you hit this thing, what actual atom on it would you like to hit? I'm just curious.
I want to hit it square between the eyes, but not really looking at it, you know?
Oh, look at you.
Like
Look
staring at Miasha and just throwing the last dagger at it.
Okay. With that, all of a sudden you feel a little bit of splash of ale as the two people beside you are like, hey! Right? They're super impressed by that. Debrin, and I'm sorry, his name wasn't Dembron, his name was Debrin. Debrin Stonetooth starts clapping, and as you do, you notice that his right hand is also made of this, like from the forearm up, it would look like it's big stone like gauntlet, kind of like Hellboy kind of thing around his arm. Just how that same granite and that same metal flake and stuff in it too. And as he's clapping his hands, you just now noticed it. And he goes up there and he grabs those pieces and yanks them out of the board with that big hefted hand and comes back over and throws it back in the bucket and says, well done. He says, if the temperamental one over here were to hit both of hers as well, you both go ahead and make a throw at Rhojord. The one that comes the closest to the killer shot on it takes everything. Good luck to you. I didn't have to pull yours out as hard as hers, so I'm betting on you. And he puts that big stone hand up on your shoulder and gives you like kind of a, yeah, one of those, okay? As he walks backwards and goes back, and he goes in this kind of sincere dwarven bow to her. She looks over to you for just a minute and she kind of smiles, shows a little bit of a tooth as she looks over at you, Sha-dae, and says, let's just hope that tonight, no matter whatever else happens, that our aim is this good then as well. She holds that thing up to you, and she takes another very, very, very long drink of it, which she handles like a fucking champ. Like, I don't know if you've watched the movie Beer Fest, but when they're chugging out of the boots and they're not allowed to lose one drip, and we're all like, yeah, we've seen it. That's a great movie. It's a fucking great movie. So, by the way, women, way to a man's heart, watch Beer Fest with him. That's all I'm saying. So with that, she's going to do her throws. Kara, which one would you like to go after first? The giant, which is the easiest one, or the ogre, which is a little bit tougher?
We'll go ogre.
Okay. Remember, you have a 1d4 you can use once your turn on an attack. Let's go ogre first. This has got to be a 20 to hit.
And am I still adding 13 to my 1d20?
Every time you swing.
Okay, plus the bonus. Oh, 21.
Got it. And you still got your d4 too. So
that was with the d4.
Oh, so you had to use it already. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo! All right. So
I was like, oh.
So you got it too, and you can hear people talking. It's like, I think she hit it. Oh, you're hearing all the shit talking starting. You got one more throw. You got your other chakram. You're getting ready to rock and roll. This one's an easy one. This is a 10. So
I would automatically hit it with my plus 13. But that's going to be a 24.
A 24. Nat's ass again. So you guys did this in very similar fashion, whereas that last hit on whatever it was, you guys centered and nailed. Okay. With that, you both like, speaking of Beer Fest, I almost want to do what that little leprechaun looking fucking guy did at the end. He goes, all tied up. You know what that means. Remember that part of the movie? So there's something like that's going to have to go down here. Whereas you two are doing your tiebreaker, they're pulling everything back and they're moving everything back a little bit. Okay, they're pulling the ropes out a little bit, and Debrin and one of the other dwarves pick up the rope and move it back like 5 steps and place it down. Music stops. There's some fighters up there on the balcony where you can hear whistles. Hey, shut up! It's tied up. And they're all talking about it. People are involved in what's going on here. Okay, just for the hell of it, the crowd itself being as focused in on this as it is gives you a DC of 15 for an intimidation. So I need you both to do what would be to not be intimidated. What's the roll? Sean, what are you thinking? Jeremy, what are you thinking?
I would think it would be insight.
Yeah, let's just do insight checks. And you got to be a DC of 15 to not be affected by the pressure of this room right now.
What do I add for Miasha?
Just roll 1d20, 1d4.
It'll be a 17.
You are still feeling the
That is a
pressure,
24.
and you are cool as a cucumber. Okay, so you crushed that. So I'm going to give you a +1 on your attack roll, Sean, on this one. Okay. Both of you stand there at the same time. Okay, he says to you, he walks up between the two of you, and he's pulling on his beard with that big stone hand. He looks at you and he goes, you're both going to throw at the same time, aiming for the same spot between the horns of Rhojord. Closest one to the center mark wins. You'll see it clearly. It's been hit before. Let's make a good show of it. Good luck. Stands back, and you two are going to go at the same time practically. And she's sitting there and she's spinning that thing around in her hand. She catches it real quick and holds it to her side. She goes, I've got to tell you the truth. I'm thinking of more of an underhanded throw on this one. That way, if I have to deflect yours out of the way, I'll still have that rotation to carry it right up between the horns. What's your strategy?
She thought Sha-dae is just silent.
Okay. It's funny because Sean's like, you ever watch the poker championships when the guys wear the glasses and they're just playing this no word, just doing their thing? That's what Sean reminds me of. Is someone playing one of them poker tournaments on ESPN. So let's go ahead and do our rolls. Might as well go ahead and get ready to add your 1d4 to this one, Kara, because it's only one throw. 1d20, 1d4, plus 13. Sha-dae, you're doing your 1d20. Add 1 to it, and then your attack modifier or whatever else you want to pull out of your hat and bag of tricks. All you got to do is tell me. You guys roll and tell me what you get.
22
22 total for Kara.
for Miasha.
For me,
Sorry,
Miasha.
Miasha.
He goes, it's not me, it's someone else. She goes, because I would have divine smited it. That's what I would have done.
Tamyra would have rolled in that one.
No.
So my roll, bonus modifier, weapon specialist, +1 gives me a total of 34.
Damn, that's crushing. I'm going to say with a 34, just for fun, as she threw her ring up like this and was kind of off and wasn't going to quite hit the thing anyway, you take a minute, you pull up the dagger and you hold it for a minute. It's almost like time slowed down for you when you get ready to throw that dagger. And as you do, you sidestep and throw it through the ring. And people can see it physically go through the ring as it's making its way there. And you hit the damn thing first as it lands sideways, sheared off by your dagger. With that high of a hit, I'll say you did that shit. Okay? When you do, people are just uproaring. Let's roll 1d20 and see what's going on. Yeah, it's a 19. That's really good. Folks are fucking super impressed by what you just did. As they do, the bronze ring is taken off the 5th page by Debrin, and he dings it off the head of the bronze ram, which is Rhojord, and comes over to you and asks you to put your name. And there's a piece of slate that seems to be bordered in some kind of fine wood, and he hands you chalk, and he wants you to put your name in the number 1 spot right now. Okay? And he's saying, go ahead, write your name on there so everyone can see what you've accomplished here today. Rhojord be praised by the accuracy of your daggers. No.
Okay.
Do you sign it, or do you just put some kind of alias, or what are you signing on?
I sign it as Sha-dae, but like as intricately as she can
Okay.
in fancy calligraphy.
Okay. Do you have anything to say to Miasha afterwards?
We'll chat later. In the meantime, let's drink.
Okay. So with that, she's looking around, and she goes to go up to Aloria's side of the bar, which is the bartender. Looks like Natalie Portman, the redheaded one. She
Mhm.
makes her way over towards there, and she says to you, I suppose since I lost, I should at least get yours. As long as you're okay with that. I could at least get someone in this group a drink, couldn't I? I mean, we are someone on the same side trying to accomplish the same thing here.
Take that.
Okay.
First round's on you.
Indeed, it is in coin and metaphorically. And she smiles as you see that she's had some spilled on her by some of the other dwarves as you two make your way to the bar. Okay. With that, the next two up in line would be a combination of Brahmus, Sylowen, Alex, and then Tamyra seems to be coming up in your rear right now. And Dumbrun looks over and he goes, it seems so we're getting all the heroes are up here now. Everyone pay attention. The Worm Slayers are here. Hail! And he holds up his drink really high, calling you guys the Worm Slayers for what you did earlier. With that, there's a dwarven man that comes up to you, Oma. Oh, okay. And he has this large woven blanket. This seems to be in the traditional style of what you're used to, only of dwarven make, with colors that are blue, gray, and different ones that are made somewhat to look like the kind of colors that you personally have on.
Mhm.
And he says, I wanted to tell you this earlier, but there were so many people around. He says, my name's Brunk. And a lot of the wives and such and whatnot have made this for you. On behalf of us and thanking you for everything that you were able to do for us down there and saving as many lives as you possibly could. Here you are. And this blanket would be big enough for you to throw over top of you as like a traveling blanket. It has a clasp on it too. What would you be saying? Do you want to investigate it? As he goes to hand it to you and he bows down, takes a step back and holds it down on two outstretched arms. What would you be saying, Alex?
Well, thank you. That's very touching. Is there anything else I could do? Is everyone still all right?
He says, oh, everyone's okay now, and mostly thanks to you. Just the fact that hearts are still beating is a victory in and of itself. And he says, I just want to thank you again. He goes, you should know special runes been weaved into that blanket there you have. With that one, you'll be resistant from anything cold that should happen to you in the future. Okay? And please take note of it and keep it close to you. If you had to cover another with it, I suppose you should, only the effects might not be quite as strong covering two of you as it would be just the one hero, you understand?
Mhm.
Because if you ever need that mended, or you ever make your way to the city of Argon, just tell them the frost worm slayers have arrived. We'll know who you are. And thank you again.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so what happens is this is we consider this like a cloak of cold resistance. So any cold damage that you take when you have this on is minus 50%. It's halved. Okay, and it looks like a native blanket that has some dwarven runes on it. It's got some fine fringes on it. It's pretty interesting. It has some Arctic fox tail on it as well, and it would have a different clasp. A pretty decent thing. A touch heavy for you, but not so bad. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. With that, guys, Deborah walks up and goes, "Who's next?" Remind me, I'll have to get a carving of a frosthorn to put on there at some point. I think we need to update this bad boy. And he's just kind of smiling. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. Who wants to jump up here first?
Brahmus will step forward.
Brahmus steps forward. You got Tamyra, you got Oma, and you got Sylowen. There can only be one other person. Who's it going to be? You guys, anyone saying anything amongst yourselves?
Come on,
Oh.
Sylowen. Show me what you got.
I will step forward. Fine.
Okay. Now we got the teacher and the student getting up here, mind you. And I don't mean to be condescending, by the way, Sylowen. Your character's fantastic and stands alone. But when it comes to your position as far as being a lancer, I want you to understand, and I want to make this clear too. It's not that Brahmus or Mirk is able to do what you do at all, but he has found the knowledge within Brahmus and has give you the platform to teach you how to be more brave and how to take this training very seriously. So the talent is yours. You are awesome on your own. He's not taught you how to use a lance. He's taught you how to be a warrior. Okay. So that's the chemistry here. He can't teach you some forgotten lance art, but he can show you and get the mindset to do what you need to do. I don't know if I ever made that clear or not. Okay. So with that, is there any shit talking you two would like to do to each other before this gets started? Tamyra, do you want to try to psych someone out? Is there anything going on at all that you guys want to do in this before we get to rolling dice?
I'm gonna say Tamyra jokingly tells Sylowen to show this big lunk who's boss, and gives a wink to Brahmus.
Brahmus?
Inside, Brahmus Mirk is currently flipping through a book on how to throw stuff because he's not proficient at it at all.
You notice Brahmus seems distant.
I was gonna say, am I proficient?
Oh, fuck, dude, this is what you do in your sleep. Throwing shit is what you do. Okay?
Am I proficient in daggers or anything?
Well, I tell you what, you would be proficient in like javelins and pole arms and anything of that nature that you do. Now, as a fighter, you can use like swords and short swords and stuff, but you would be looking for something along the lines of what you have. And we'll do that
javelin.
in a second. We'll get to that because that'll be interesting. I think this will be fun. So, having said that, Brahmus, do me an investigation thing. I want to see what you find as you're rummaging through. Fucking cheater. That's terrible. It's terrible. Deborah's like, hey, big fella. Hello. You can just see him on that window on the inside of Brahmus. His face is really big up to the window looking at you.
Bear with me a second. The dog is trying to chew on my charge cable.
It's all good. Well, hey, as long as you at least have your dice, you'll be one up on Sean. That's right. That's right, poker player. We're talking about you down there. It's all good. By the way, what's going on with Shaven? I don't hardly recognize you. You just changed so much, Sean.
Oh, that's the nature of Sha-dae. She just changed us.
Is that what it is? This is role play.
Well, it's for me the beard gets kind of irritating after a while, so I shave it off periodically.
This line does two things. One, it lets a semi-chubby guy have a definite chin line. That's the most important. And number two, it keeps hair off my damn neck because that would drive me crazy. I'm lucky. I'm a hefty, stocky kind of guy, so I could be fat as shit, and person would look at me and be like, "Oh, he used to play football." It's not like I don't just get round; I get broad, so it's all good. But man, this sitting at home, COVID, drinking coffee and eating donuts and shit, it's not good for the figure, man. Woo! Of course, I'm not drinking 15 White Claws like Kara is when we're playing either, so it's all good.
16.
16. Okay.
You did say investigation, right?
Oh, I did, yeah. You find some interesting literature on different kinds of games of that nature. You're looking up, this is like the Matrix, where Neo's like, I know Kung Fu. So with a 15, man, not a whole lot, bud. Good luck.
Best I can find is how to spear fish.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So having said that, Sylowen, you are frantically looking around for him to have something around, or some other dwarf or somebody, and have something not quite as large as your lance,
Yeah,
but
I don't want to break
something
everything.
like you could hurl at this thing. Roll
So
me
like,
a perception check.
would a dart be a small javelin?
We'll just roll a perception check and see what you find. Yeah, there's yard darts laying there.
18.
18, that's not bad. Okay, I'll say with that,
Excuse me.
there are several dwarves there, and you see one dwarven hunter that seems to have a couple different javelins on his back for spearfishing and stuff like that that's dressed warm. And he's probably about 10 foot away. You have a little bit of a buzz, like we said, you're giggly. So you're not shy at this point from last time.
Mhm.
Would you like to ask that dwarf about 10 foot away if you could use a couple of his javelins off his back? That would be the only way you're going to get
Yeah,
some.
I just yell over. I'm like, sir, would you like to aid one of your heroes? And then ask if I could borrow his javelins.
Okay, roll a persuasion check with advantage because you are a hero.
Cool.
What have I created? What have I done?
I'm gonna definitely a persuasion. Hold on, I'm good with charisma.
Oh,
Plus
you're
6. 23.
shit. Just for the hell of it, Sean, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d4 and tell me what you get.
I think he lost his dice again.
No shit, I'm telling you, man. There's criteria to be had in this.
4.
A total of 4. I want to tell you that you go over to this fisherman. He looks over at you, and Sylowen, being from the castle, not really knowing very men in your travels and things.
Is he a human or a dwarf?
This is a dwarf, but this seems to be what
Okay.
would be about a 25 to 30-year-old dwarf. Let's just say, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, actually. Oh, okay. This seems to be a very healthy, attractive dwarf to a degree. This one's all braids, and they're short. They are a dark brown. There's one on the mutton chop here, one on the mutton chop here, and there's 2 braids that comes off the chin that are intertwined. They have a bronze emblem of that ram holding them together. His hair is all combed over to one side, and he has a tattoo going on the bare spot over top of his head here that seems to be what looks like a dragon flying between mountains on the scene on the side of his head. And he would resemble the one that played Thanos. Is it Josh Brolin? He has a
Thanos
little
from
bit,
like
has a little bit of that
Marvel?
look to him.
Yes.
Ew. Okay.
What is it?
I said Thanos, like from like the Marvel movies.
The actor that played him.
Oh, I was like,
he's
I
not
thought
got a
he
big
was
purple head.
attractive.
No, Josh Brolin, the guy, that played.
I don't know who that is. Okay.
And
Okay.
Mrs. Doubtfire, the guy with the bins.
Mrs. Doubtfire. That's Robin Williams.
The new dad.
Yeah.
No, that's
No,
Pierce
not
Brosnan.
Mrs. Doubtfire. The man who's trying to marry.
That's Pierce Brosnan.
That's
I'm
Pierce
sorry.
Brosnan.
Oh.
That's
the
Pierce
one-
Brosnan. He's the guy who played the older brother in Goonies.
Okay, sure.
Did you not know that, Jeremy?
I had no clue.
I saw surprise on your face, dude. Yeah, that was Josh Brolin. Okay. So yeah, she's looking it up now. Very chiseled,
I gotta see if he's
handsome fella.
okay. Well, he's old here, so
He looks over at you when you roll that check, and he rolls a 4, and he seems like he is staring straight into the eyes of a half-drunk angel. And for as stern as this dwarf is, with these large, long chiseled lines, and he's actually well kept and stuff for a dwarf, he looks over across at you, and you see his mouth go agape just a little bit as you're just smiling ear to ear. It's like, hey, can I have one of your thing that and you're doing this to him. He is lost in words, and he kind of shakes his head. Yeah, before he says, yes.
Okay. So then I
Um,
run over there, I grab his javelins, and I give him a huge smooch on his cheek, and then I return to the game.
As you do, and you walk off 5 foot away, okay, and you have this boost of confidence about yourself that you did this, I'm going to give you a bonus of 1d4 on your first throw.
Ooh, thank you.
Okay, because you are feeling hot to trot at the moment, and you hear a bunch of dwarves like 1, 2, 3 as you walk away going, ah! And they're like making fun of him, and you can hear beer hit the floor, and he's like, shut up, she was beautiful.
Can Brahmus get a boost if he smooches someone?
Go ahead and try it. You roll a perception check, look around the room.
Jeremy almost spit out my wine. I hope you know. It almost came out my nose.
Someone's getting metal noogies. Someone's getting them.
Woo.
All right.
This is the refrigerator.
Go kiss the same guy. See what happens.
Okay, with that, Oma, you can see that Sylowen goes back by you. She has these two, what looks to be finely polished and sharpened fisherman's javelins. As she marches back up to this, Tamyra, you can't help but be impressed. I mean, chin's held high. The smell of booze is rampant in the air, and she's ready to throw some darts, buddy. Brahmus, you're now in the distance. You can hear her, like, her loud voice echoing through the chambers, like, can I borrow some lances? You're hearing this. It's intimidating you. You have a minus 1d4 on your first throw, just because you're so flustered in the fact that you can't find what you're looking for, and her booming voice is like, sounds so confident. You guys get up there. Jeremy's like, I'm not talking to you again, dickhead. Not. We're done. Brian, we're not buddies anymore. Who would like to throw first?
I bow to Brahmus and I say, you go first.
Oh, she's
Oh,
just
wise teacher.
oh, she's just being condescending. Oh, it's her.
That's just salt in the wound.
Oh, that's rough. All
At
right.
this point, Mirk is just gonna like look at the book a little bit, flip through the page, and just chuck it over his
He is throwing books around. This is too good. All right,
He's
buddy.
gonna look for some throwing axes.
All right, so
Like preferably like larger than average.
okay, he's getting brutal here. So let's do this. You look at the bucket of daggers. So Brahmus looks down, looks back at him, and goes, and you just point like Babe Ruth to a bucket of, to the axes hanging over there on the side, and Deborah's like, I'll set you right up. As long as you fucking hit the board with one of these, you're bound to hit something. Am I right? Axes it is! Axes! And everyone's yelling, axes! And they're all drunk and stuff. So they come up there with two axes.
Sylowen goes, axes!
Right on. So they're axes, and they're just cut out of one piece of metal as if a template was traced, and they're big. Now for you, they're going to look a little bit smaller than a regular axe. For everybody else, they'd be normal size battle axe. Okay.
Oh, please tell me he just grips them between his like fingers and throws it because it's so small.
Is that what you're doing? Are you throwing toothpicks,
Get a
buddy?
throwing card.
He's doing the Michael Jackson. Woo! Woo! He's just doing a little throw. I'm going to say if we had a wizard here that could do prestidigitation, just put that effect. So anyway, sorry. Silly shit going on here. Sean's like, I'm out. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. So you're going first. Let me go ahead and write this up here. Let's do B for Brahmus and SY for Sylowen. Okay.
Sigh.
We got 10, 15, 20, 30. Okay, Brahmus, you got two throws. He puts them in your hands and he goes, try to make it to where I can at least pull them out of the board. Huh?
Is this a no holds barred, use everything at my disposal?
I whisper to him,
Sure.
yes.
And no, he's asking me as a DM because he's like, I'm gonna make this thing glow with fire, and he's ready to do van damage. So
It's like burn it down.
right?
Well, I'll say I've got my overdrive for attack bonus, and if
Yeah,
you
oh, you're
allow
gonna
it, calculated assault.
You're gonna be breaking your joints just to throw a good axe here. This is fantastic. Tamyra, you are seeing some fantastic shit sit down here while Oma's like, this is pretty. She's just hanging out. You guys are being
Oma is not impressed.
Oma's just like, oh, it is a little warm in here. This is kind of nice. What are you guys doing?
Just
Right?
I've
showing
like
it off, look,
gathered
it's got
around
pockets.
I've like gathered around.
all the like dwarves around me, and we're just like, I'm in it with them. I'm not drinking, but I'm
All
having
the,
a
like,
fantastic time.
Dwarves are
Okay, cool. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, Jeremy, go ahead. So tell me, you got 2 throws here. What's your first throw going to be at?
What was the one below goblins? It was the ogre, wasn't it?
You had goblins was the hardest one. Next one was a draken.
Draken.
Okay, go ahead and roll your 1d20 and you tell me what you're adding to this. Because I don't want you just making up random numbers and shit. Tell me what all you're using here. Guys, this is taking some time, but it's fun. I hope everyone's enjoying this. We could go through this quicker, but I just think this shit is necessary. This is just kind of fun, you know?
I'm gonna, for the first throw, gonna add attack overdrive.
Okay,
So do the
so
1d4.
go ahead and do the damage. Record the damage that you do to yourself. Okay. Brahmus has a unique ability where he can damage himself to a degree to push his body further than normally it would by running around the castle and pulling gears and moving shit. And that's what he's done. So you're adding 1d4 to your attack roll?
Yeah, no, that's the 1d. Like what I roll, that's damage and bonus to attack, right?
Correct.
Cool.
Hey, you've been reading. Making me proud, Jeremy.
That'd be a 22.
So would that be, is that an action or like a bonus action? Because I'm wondering how that works.
How what works?
What were you doing to get the extra D4?
He has
My
abilities.
bonus action.
His bonus action. And the thing about
Okay,
this,
okay. All right, that's what I was wondering, because I was wondering if I could do that too.
well, we're in an environment where we're not really counting 6-second turns. We're letting the person kind of, this is almost like major league pitching, where Jeremy's
Okay.
like scratching his crotch, spitting on the ground, rubbing the ball, looking at, you know what I mean? He's taking his time with this. So you can put
Okay.
into this what you need to.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So after everything you added, what was your roll again?
You're
It was a
muted.
19 plus 3.
Swing and a
22.
miss. You did not hit the Draken. It goes at least 6 inches wide to the left. As you swung at it, it was a little bit higher number to hit than that. Your second axe, are you honed in? Do you want to try again for the same one, or you want to change it up a little bit?
Yeah, why not? Let's go for the same one.
Okay.
And if I recall, that overdrives for only 1, right?
You have to. I haven't wrote it for so long, Jeremy. I'm not sure. I think you can only use it once per turn. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 1.
And do you have weapon specialization too?
No,
Okay.
I hadn't taken that yet. Kind of wishing I had.
Maybe. Sylowen's like, don't worry, I'll teach you that shit next time we're together. It's no problem.
That's another 19.
19 total.
I just want
2 misses. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so with that, Oma has found a random bowl of pretzels at the bar and is munching down when you guys are throwing shit at the board. Right on. Sylowen, do you have any words of encouragement? The big guy just had a hard time.
Don't worry, teacher. You'll get it next time. Just keep practicing like you
Oh,
told me.
God, she's slinging shade. Okay, Sylowen, you're up. Your first throw, you have a plus 1d4.
All right. I'm going to go for the same thing.
You're going to go for
Yes.
the Draken. Okay. go ahead and roll your attack and tell me what kind of bonuses you have you're going to add to this. It's going to be a 1d20 and a 1d4, and you know how your weapon specialization works. Okay.
So 30.
Yeah, you kind of hit it.
Thanks for that D4.
Sarcastically surprised. Oh God, that was easier than I thought it would be, right, guys? Right?
Oh wow! Like you had tried to get this? What are you talking about?
I should do this all the time. Let me try it again. What are you throwing at now?
So how much? There was just one Draken.
Yeah, there's
one.
A giant is the easiest one to hit. Then you have a troll, an ogre, a Draken is the one you just hit. Then the goblin is the hardest one to hit.
All right, I guess I'll go for the one below the Draken.
That would be the goblin. That would be the hardest one to hit.
Wait, I'm sorry.
You mean below the other
you know, fuck it. Let's go for the goblin for doing it.
Okay, sorry. When you said below, I misunderstood. Okay.
Go ahead. I said it wrong.
Okay. The goblin is.
That's a nat 20.
Of course it is.
I mean, Kara, you can come over here and look. It's a nat 20.
That's one of the luxuries we have with two of them in the same room. So what is your total?
Well, since I got the D4 from you, I don't need another D4. I can do it. So I guess 31? No, I'm going to use the D4. 35.
Okay. So she's splitting Nat's asses. As she does that, you hear, ooh, come from the crowd, and you hear that stone hand of Debrin rubbing on your shoulder, Brahmus, almost like metal on stone rubbing. He goes, you're going to have to come back hard from that one. Right? She's over there. She's got a cheering section, and you look over as the dwarf that let you borrow the things comes over and offers to pull the javelins out of that thing in case of instead of Debrin having to do it. He just kind of nods to him. As hard as you threw those, the dwarf, wow, nat 20, pulls them out effortlessly.
Ooh, I curtsy and look at him.
Say you slowed down, Heather.
Hear you, Red. I'm breaking up.
Kara, I think Heather's drunk.
Oh, I said I curtsy and then I wink at the dwarf who gets the no. Can you say?
Okay, I get what she's trying to say. She curtsies and winks at him as she comes over and she hands him back the javelins and stuff like that. And he looks at him and he says, they're made of some fine craftsmanship. Me and some of my mates and other friends have made these, and they've been very successful in the past. He goes to hand them to you, and he says, Rhojord has put a blessing on them and me as well on this day. He goes, aim true. And he calls you Songbird.
So sweet.
And he hands you them back as he walks by. Roll a charisma check to see how impressed you are by
that. 14.
Okay. He got a 15. He just barely beat you. So you are somewhat flustered and impressed by what he said. Yeah, but just mildly enough where you can manage it. But you're like, that's interesting. Okay. With that, it would be Brahmus's turn now. So just trying to hit the board here, big guy. Just trying to get some points on the board.
We're not adding any 2-hit or anything like that. It's just a straight D20, right?
No, you're doing 1d20, then you're doing your attack bonus.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, because you're a paladin. Paladins are proficient with axes and stuff like that.
Right. Well, I wasn't thinking. I didn't know if I'd get that proficiency since I'm not proficient with throwing it.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. The thing here is that you're not going to get any kind of weapon specialization like that because that's not your main weapon. You use great swords.
Right.
Okay, a battle axe and a great sword are different. Now you get your proficiency bonus in all simple martial weapons versus 5e rules, but you know, I'm not going to give you any specialization though because you haven't honed it in on anything else.
Right. I was gonna say both those last rolls would have been a +9 to whatever.
Well,
22 + 9 and 19 + 9.
the one
I know
will
better
say
now.
is I took a 1d4 off because you were flustered anyway. So, but it makes for good role play. Just we know moving forward. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have any.
I'd say at this
Dwarven
point,
fisherman.
Brahmus has got it figured out now.
Okay, he looks at you with the determined look, Sylowen, as the head just kind of looks over at you. Gives you a nod, goes back. Go ahead and roll your rolls, Jeremy. Tell me what you're getting. What are you aiming for?
I'm gonna go back again, but I'm going for the goblin this time.
He's going to put a fuck you down on this and go straight for the goblin.
And I'm taking the 1d4 attack boosting.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me what your total is. Excuse me. Have my own little festival here in the bedroom. It's all kinds of good music.
28.
Oh, he's delivering hard blows out there. But well, it's not happening for you today, is it, lad?
At this
And
rate, the
Sylowen
wall
says-
behind it's gonna fall down.
Right on.
So says, teacher, maybe go for something a little easier.
You know, Sylowen, you could sing to give him inspiration. If you want to be
Oh, I
super
do
condescending,
that.
because you
I'm
could
not actually going to sing for you now.
okay, so here's what we do.
Oh, wait, no, I didn't want to be like super, super condescending. No.
I mean, it depends on how buzzed you are. All I'm saying
I'm
is,
still lagging.
if you look into what you can do for your inspiration, you can sing and inspire up to 2 or 3 people in an area because of your class, and you can give them a 1d6 on something they can use once in like the next, I think it's 10 minutes or something. I don't know the exact rules because I don't play bards very often, but it's something like that. So if you want to write down a little limerick or something clever in the background, I'll let you sing that here in a minute, and you can.
I'm not singing. It's not happening.
I will let you ask Kara to sing it for you. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm
Hey,
getting
babe, come sing it for me.
and I bet you she kicks ass at the karaoke bar. I'm telling you right now, I think Kara's in it to win it.
Do you karaoke, babe?
We did at Lipstick Lounge.
Well, that was bad.
Your chair's like mine. Sean was up here at the beginning of the day, and right now Sean's just like he's like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? But I don't know. I wish I could fix it. Like mine won't even hold air at all now. Mine's like the old Nike shoes that had the air pocket, but it's busted. So it just holds rainwater all the time. Like this chair is not worth a shit. Okay. So second throw, Brahmus. God love you, buddy. What are you aiming for?
Going for the one below Draken.
And when you say below, you mean ogre. You mean easier to hit than the Draken. Okay. Kara's like, yes. Give this fucking poor guy a break. Go ahead and roll. Got to beat a 20. Are you shitting me? What'd you get?
15.
15?
That's with me taking another D4.
Can I cast guidance on him? Wait, that doesn't fucking matter. Never mind.
Not now. Not until next time. As you do that, there's 2 dwarves that come over by you. One is a tinker gnome. One is the gnome Oma that you recognize from the Lylung. And the gnome that sung you that awesome song that time when you guys were up there in that bar room together seems to be studying on Brahmus and looking at his joints and seeing if there's something wrong with the contraption, why he's having such a hard time throwing these axes. And this small, high-pitched, bard-like gnome is kind of looking you over as you kind of look down the side. You know what I mean? Oma, if there's something you want to do to intervene in here, you can. Being a cleric and shit like that, have some fun with this. Tamyra, same with you. Sylowen, his turn's over, In the crowd, you just hear, like from like 10 or 15, I'll tell you. Okay, you hear groans from like 14 different people. As you hear in the background, I know what I'm going to do. Ignatius walks up to you, Brahmus. And he looks at you and he's kind of smiling. He's looking at her and he's looking at you. And he says, I've imagined something like this a couple different times, but now that I'm actually here and seeing this is pretty spectacular. And he pats you on the shoulder and says, well, good luck and don't worry, I still respect you. He says that and he walks off. Add a 1d4 from bless to your next throw, Brahmus. He gave you guidance. Okay. Your turn's done, Sylowen. Now, have you ever heard of the Black Sox? The Black Sox were a baseball team from the early 1900s. They were actually the White Sox, and they were called the Black Sox because they took a dive intentionally. And I'm just saying that if you wanted to miss to to make him feel better about himself, there are all kinds of options here for you. But he might really respect it if you just drive this shit home and show him that your hard work has paid off.
No, absolutely not. My teacher would be so proud if I were to beat him. Let's be real.
Well, he's right there, and I guarantee he is. You may not be able to see it.
This is all his work paying off.
It's a win-win, Jeremy. So
right. Well, it's got Mirk thinking on the inside of all this. After all these years, he's finally starting to see a limitation in what he can do. He's so built for battle, for combat and melee, that his joints just don't have it what's in him to throw things. And that might be something to look into.
Well, it's
not when you keep sacrificing them.
Okay, so.
All right, I'm going to go for the one that he was just aiming for.
Okay, that's going to be the ogre. 20 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
She said 25?
Mm-hmm.
Hits! So you got the troll, which is pretty big, and then you've got the giant also. Which one of those two do you want to hit? They're both a lot easier. One's a 10, one's a 15.
I'll go for the 15.
Okay, go ahead. You're aiming at the troll now.
That was already a 16 plus my 11, which is 27.
Okay, with that, you get a bonus, Lance.
Ooh, my first bonus. Okay.
And as you say
wait,
that,
I have to have my sweet dwarf come and retrieve my javelins and bring them back to me.
How do you say that? How do you say that?
I grab him by the arm and I say, "Would you do me the honor? And maybe you'll get a dance later."
I can. I'm not much of a dancer, but I'll get the lance though. No worries. You stay here. I'll be right back. And just dead serious. And he gets up and goes over and he pulls the lance out. And as he does, and he's walking over to you, and you see three of his friends in the background mocking him, going, and they're making fun of him and shit. Show her your moves, mother. And shit like this. As he kind of blushes and he turns and whips him a really mean look.
I also whip them a really mean look.
Does Sha-dae see this?
Do you want to?
Yeah, kind of.
You and Miasha notice a lot of this shit from the bar, and I'll say, sure, you noticed that. What are you doing?
She casts minor illusion to make jeering whistles going off.
Where at?
Toward just in general, kind of like that.
Okay. Just for the hell of it, roll me a 1d20 plus your spell thing just to see how amazing these whistles are and what you do. Such a poker face. I can't tell how he's rolling.
It's a total 20.
Total 20. All kinds of whistles, guys. You would think there was construction workers at the Hooters restaurant right now. It is ridiculous. It is that condescending and that amazing all at the same time, rolled up in one happy festival sandwich here. Lots of whistles, all kinds of audible things from our place, and it gets other people going as well. From that, you have one bonus lance. Go ahead and throw your bonus lance, Sylowen. You are aiming for a 10 here. Oh, so
All right, I
neat.
got an 8, but I have 11, so 20. 19 plus. Yeah, that's enough.
Okay, yeah, it kind of is. And with that, a bunch of people start clapping and things like that. And he goes over and gets that lance, and this dwarf comes back up to you and looks at you, and he says, "You'd make quite the fisherman." He goes, he smiles and he goes, "I know for more than certain that you've hooked me." And he puts his hand over his heart and he looks at you. And with that, Jeremy's like, "I can't do it." Jeremy bailed. He's like, "This is too mushy. I gotta go. I can't do it."
Oh, I hope he's not on call.
It might be, but if so, if he
Yeah.
messages, just let me know.
Yeah, I will.
With that, it's like Jeremy's turn. I'll try to roll for him and give him a little bit better luck here. Holy shit. He said he was doing these and he could do he had +9 and then he had a 1d4 he could add. Okay. So with that, the head of Brahmus turns over to you. He says, and he says in that voice that comes out, he says, "You know, there's a lot of things that we've went over the last several months. Remind me to look back inside to see if I can find some books on modesty." He says, and you see the armor and the mantle over his face kind of kimp up and his eyes squint as if this construct is attempting to smile after it says this to you. What are you saying?
He said that to me. I thought that was he was talking to himself. I'm so sorry.
No, he was saying that to Sylowen. He goes, "Of all the training we've done," he goes, "I'll need to find some more books on modesty in my next searches." And he says that, and he kind of, you can see the construct's face contorting in a way that would be a smile.
And I look at him and I say, "You are the most humble, modest man I've ever met.
He smiles.
I think you'll be just fine."
He smiles. He goes, I'm not the axe wielder that some of my brethren used to be. I'm more of a punch and go type of guy. But if I throw my fist at this thing, it's the only one I've got." And he smiles again, because you can imagine him just rocket fisting into this damn thing, but he's choosing not to do that.
And I just put my hand on his shoulder and I say, "We're not trying to destroy everything quite yet."
Okay. So Brahmus, while you were going, I had you turn to her and you said, "You know, of all the things that I've trained you and stuff, modesty needs to be the next lesson." And then you say something to her like, "You know, I'm not that great at faxes, but if I shot a rocket fist at this thing, it would be over." Okay. So with that, she's cleaned the board. She's kicked its complete ass. You can go again here and possibly get 3 at best and save a little bit of face, my friend. I want you to do that. I need you to do it for me. You understand? One bearded fellow to another, damn it, Jeremy. Let's make
I
some
can't let
elections.
your blessing go to waste. So
Okay, so listen. You know that the most you're going to get this round is 3. Okay. So you want to go big and go home. The trick is if you get 2 easy ones, you can get a bonus third throw. So you play this how you want to, my friend.
yeah, I'm just gonna go to the minimum just to see for myself what the least I can do is. And that way I know what to build on from there.
Okay, man, do it. You going for the giant then?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a 25.
That definitely hits. You do great on that. He takes that giant down. Sylowen, did you want to sing any kind of inspiration?
No, I think he's got this on his own.
Okay. She's like, "No, not really. Not so much." Okay. Go ahead. What's your
I'll
next
go
roll?
the next one up.
Okay, which would be a 15 to hit. We got
19.
that hits. You get your bonus one. He comes back to you, says, way to button up your lip. He says, take this next one and give it a mighty throw. We're looking for more flair here. You can't win at this point. He says, holds that granite fist up and clenches his fist, and you can hear and he goes, but make it count.
And what was the DC for the third tier?
20. There's 20, 25, then 30. Goes all the way from 10 to 30.
$18.
And a miss. Okay. So if that, there's kind of a sigh in the background. For some reason, there's still whistling going on. You're not quite sure why. She'll just have a little extra fun.
Sylowen thinks it's her dwarf admirer, and she's just like, hey.
Okay.
Mirk's just checking around. He's thinking something behind him's like steaming or something.
Right on, yeah. Okay. With that, that one is one. Hold on, let me turn this down. Okay. So is there anything that you would say to her in victory as what did Darth Vader say? It's like, now you are the master or something. I forget that line he says. But what would you like to say to Sylowen?
He'd look at her and just kind of give her a nod of the head and just be like, you did well. I'm proud of you for your progress.
Well, I only learn from the best.
Oh, it's getting deep. Tamyra pulls her pants up because the boots are Tamyra's like, I can't do this. I can't walk in here. All right. So with that, what would you guys like to do next? We're going to take a 15 as soon as we get done talking about this, okay? Because this old guy's got to use the bathroom. So we have Tamyra and we have Oma, which are left to do this. I want to have an interaction between Miasha and Sha-dae at the bar. Okay, we have arm wrestling that could have been going on over here. We have bare fist fighting. We have a hot hands game. All kinds of cool shit going on in here. Okay, so think about what you want to do. If you want to stick with this, do the next round of it. Move on to something else. I'll let you guys just kind of give it some thought, and we'll regroup here in just about 10 minutes or so after we take a break. Does that sound good? Okay. All right. I'll see you guys here in about 10, 12, 13, 14, whatever it takes. Okay. Later. Okay. We're recording again. Break is over. Alex will jump back on here in just a few. We haven't heard from her in the last few moments, so we'll see what's going on. Oh, did she say she's not?
She said her back is hurting, so I don't think she's going to jump back on.
Okay. All right. That'll
Yeah,
work.
she said she was going to try to lay down and ease it up a little bit.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and continue on. With that, you're over at the bar, and Aloria, which is this long, curly, red-haired, Irish-looking girl, comes over to the bar and comes up to Miasha and you, Sha-dae, and puts her arms down there and smiles at the two of you. She goes, "You started quite a stir over there, heroes." She goes, "What will you guys be having this afternoon?" And as she says that, Miasha says, "Oh, well, it would appear that I've apparently lost a match versus this one. So I suppose, how does this work? Do you just choose anything that you want and I'm forced to buy it for you?"
That's how you want to play it, darling.
She smiles and she goes, "So go ahead and I have no problem with that. Select whatever you would like." So do you want to just come up with the name of something that's fancy, or do you want me to roll to see what you want, or what do you want to do, Sha-dae?
I'll take a purple worm, please.
Okay. As you do this, okay, she smiles and she goes, news travels fast. And as she goes down behind the bar, you see her get out 2 different kinds of booze, okay? And she says, made a special for this occasion. And she pulls out what looks like origami work on several different toothpicks and straws, almost like an umbrella. But this, when it is pushed out, looks like a large purple worm, like almost like a lantern looking fold of purple paper with teeth and things on the ends of it, and it sticks on the end of the stir that comes out of it. And what it does is the top of the drink looks white, like snow, and underneath of it is a purple color. Then is a darker black color at the bottom, and the colors do not mix. So it looks like the snowfield, purple worm, then earth. And the drink has that look to it. It looks pretty, but you are concerned with how this will taste. Because, you know, sometimes it's an awful lot of work. She gets that and she makes it up for you right there on the spot. And she pushes it over to you and she says to Miasha, 4 silver. Miasha looks serious for a minute and like clears her throat. For a drink. She goes, I could have any number of rooms upstairs for that same amount. And she goes, but I believe you've earned it. And she takes and she pulls out the 4 silver and makes it an even 5. And goes ahead and lays it out on the counter like that, looks over to you. She goes, I hope that thing tastes as good as it looks. Go ahead and drink it and roll me a constitution check. Sha-dae, I'd like to see how you're taking to the drink.
That is a 13.
Okay. This drink suits you just fine. It is strong, but it is not overly strong, and you get different sensations and tastes from the different levels inside of this thing. This would almost be like almost pina colada flavored in a way. Okay, especially
Okay.
the top part. As it gets bottom, it gets a little bit more sour during the purple part than you would normally want in a drink. But you can definitely tell the difference in the layers, and it is quite good. You would actually have another one of these if it were up to you. Is there anything you're saying?
Worth every copper, darling.
Okay. She goes, I don't know if you were counting or not. That was 4 silver. It wasn't exactly copper. She goes, but at least it's a start, nonetheless. So I asked earlier what would be in this for me, for my sake, and so far all that I've gotten is buying someone else a drink and cold shoulder and looks from people when I'm the only one trying to bring a bit of honesty to this scenario. She looks at you for a long time after she says that. She goes, I did not hesitate. She goes, when I saw you all fall out there in the garden, I took pursuit on this creature or whatever you would call it, now that it makes sense that I know it is of a water element. But just keep in mind that I didn't hesitate. I think that's worth mentioning.
Oh, yes. Honesty is all well and good, dearie, but, you know, honestly, it's the honest ones you have to watch out for. Because you never know when they're going to be dishonest. However,
All right.
we made a
Captain
wager for
Jack.
truth.
Okay, go ahead.
We made a wager
Dwarves
for,
laugh. I don't know what's going on over in the corner. Go ahead, Sean.
we made a wager for the truth, so let's have it. What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
Well, since it's traditional that I go first because I'm the one that lost, I'll try some truth on you, although I'm not hardly used to that. I'll give it a shot. She says to you, after spending quite a bit of time here and traveling quite a distance to be here, I've made it on my own, and I have gained information and knowledge and rank amongst some of the people in this city, and I've found work. I've done it all by myself, but I also realize, as in my early life, that some things you just can't do alone. She goes, and because of that, I'm willing to trade my help with this situation of these murders and whatnot. If someone could possibly show me the same courtesy when the time comes. Nothing too exacting, but just something.
No, no, no. As she's talking, Sha-dae's face slowly shifts, not dramatically, but like her eyes will change to match Miasha's. Her facial features will kind of accent the way her face is shaped.
Okay.
You'll see kind of stripes going on, so that her face kind of mimics what she looks like as she's speaking.
Just so you know, while you're talking to her and she's looking at you, Miasha looks over your shoulder and looks puzzled for just a minute. And as you're saying these words, you hear this familiar voice from behind you. Hey, it's you guys. And it starts walking up from the background. And as you look over, you see that gnome that you saw from before. And he says, well, I finally got hard working back again. Figured I could get you guys a drink here. You both seem so serious. Don't worry about all that. It's on me. And he reaches that little arm up in between the two of you, and he smells like cologne and sweat, like he's tried too hard to be here. His hair's all wetted back and stuff, and he puts like 4 or 5 gold coins. Whatever these ladies want, it's on me. He yells like that. Says, you just get them whatever they need. I'll be back over. You guys are big. I'll be over this way. Come see me. You especially. And he points at the tall one, which is Tamyra. Not Tamyra. Sha-dae. He points at Sha-dae. And he says, I need you to get that tall one, the one that brings down holy hell on Artie. We're needing for some arm wrestling over here after bed, and I kind of already bet some money on her. So if you could help with that, that'd be great.
Okay, having a moment here. Thank you.
Kind of see that now that didn't mean to interrupt and anything. I just all of a sudden felt drawn to the conversation as if some unknown force summoned me here. It's weird. But anyway, I'm going to go back and see if I can make some money. You girls enjoy that. I'll be seeing you.
Thank you.
Right. He just turns around and walks off, waddles away. Good job, Kara. Now that that's over,
Well, look at that, Mia.
Go ahead and finish your conversation.
Well, look at that, Miasha. Well, look at that, Miasha. Good things come to those who are honest. Now, let me be honest with you. I don't really trust outsiders, and part of the course that we are the same in many ways, both from a distant land, both used to being on our own, both having to work to get to where we are. So in that, I can respect what you're trying to do. All I ask is that you be upfront and honest, and in it. Now I know you're asking, oh, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? But if we all asked what's in it for me, no one's going to get anything. So, what's in it for you? You want to work on the Lylung. I'm sure I can put in a good word with Aeolus and have Oma speak with him on your behalf.
Okay.
And I do appreciate you attempting to go after the one that poisoned us all. Just know that I can understand where you're coming from.
She
I
smiles.
hope you can understand where I am too.
She goes, I do understand where you're coming from. There's one thing, however, that does bother me, that if we are being honest, if we're trying to do that now, I feel that I should warn and tell you about. Okay. So after she says that, she says, so you've mentioned to me that this creature is in fact the genasi of the ocean. Is that correct?
Yes, he is.
And you've spent some time around him and have got to see some of the things
Yes, he
they are
is.
capable of.
Yes, I have.
This will be playing into our conversation the other day, Sean. So this is us role playing that out. Okay.
Mhm.
So with that,
Mhm.
Aloria goes by and looks at the two of you there and goes to ask if your drink is needs refilled, but sees you're having a serious conversation and goes on her way. As Miasha kind of shrugs her shoulders and gets down and talks to you kind of quietly with her hand over top of the side of her face, like she's scratching her eyebrow and running her hands through her hair. She says to you, I happen to have been friends, well, almost like sisters with an Air Genasi from the city of Tamyra, named Golai, Goli. Quite powerful. She goes, I've seen her take down 5 or 6 different people trying to steal from her shop with just the wave of a hand. I know that you may be angry at this person, and if they have begrudged you, I understand your concerns, but don't let your ambition supersede your ability in this matter. She goes, there are things that they can do that she has always talked about her mother training her to do that are extremely deadly. So with that, I would like for you to roll a history check, Sean.
History.
Can I ask like
Total-
a kind of metagaming question real quick?
Yeah.
So like, are we allowed to discuss strategy between ourselves, not in character?
To a degree, yes. What happens
So
is,
like,
for instance, like, I wouldn't want you saying things to Tamyra that are like me and Sean's conversation now. You don't know any of this. But if we're in the middle of a game and you're discussing,
no, I'm saying like,
yeah, you guys can come up
oh,
with.
sorry, it's lagging. So
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You can definitely talk about strategy and stuff before a fight and planning, because that kind of overcompensates for the fact that our characters are adventurers and warriors and spellcasters and shit. So that fills in the void for the benefit of the doubt. It takes up that slack. See, I have no problem.
So like,
Go ahead.
sorry, it's still lagging. I guess like strike this from the record if this is not allowed, but like, couldn't we just like cast Zone of Truth on Miasha and just get this shit out of the way?
You could. The problem is that when you cast a spell like that, the person knows you're casting it on them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We could be like, hey, Miasha, you want to fucking prove it to us? Let us cast Zone of Truth on you. Let's have some fucking conversations, and then we'll move on, and then we'll trust you or not. Like, could we do that?
No. Okay, you definitely could. And here's the thing, you could jump up and down your head and dance the jig in front of the bar. You can do whatever you want. The issue is, think about what your character does, think about the consequences of your actions, and think about it in game as well as outside of game. Outside of game, that sounds like a foolproof plan. I mean, hell, anytime we want to make sure someone's being honest, why not just cast Zone of Truth on them? Why not just do that every single time?
I mean, if we make that our brand, let's brand it.
But yeah, I think what they were going to say is Zone of Truth does have the, yes, it compels someone to speak the truth if they choose to speak at all.
Yeah, so I mean, she still could keep herself quiet if she wanted to, but whatever she does say, we would know is true. Therefore, at least on some things, we could trust her.
That if you really want to get lawyery with it, it can be also like, yeah, what I said is technically true, but it's not what I actually meant.
Right. So, and the thing is, as a DM,
I guess so. I'm just trying to like figure this out because.
No, that's cool. That's what you should be doing, and that's outstanding. But you almost have to think if, put your character in that same position. Okay, and you may be a very honest, on the cuff kind of person that doesn't have the same background as these all do. But
for
if
sure,
someone starts
Sylowen would tell anybody anything. So.
Question about the veils of stars, or starts asking about the sisterhood, or some of the things that you personally went through, and you have to disclose that information to us and be honest before we can go on, and someone casts a spell that almost forces you to do that, that's going to be like someone, I mean, you have to think about the consequences of that. So it's definitely an option.
All right, well, it was an option that I thought about. So if you guys wanna, we could try it. I mean, I'm sure she'd probably say yes, but.
Okay. So actually, right after this right here, Sean, have that conversation with some of them. You've got a couple drinks in you. You could say some shit if you wanted to. Start that conversation with Tamyra and them as they're getting ready to do this thing. You know what I mean? So just 1 minute and we'll get right to that. Okay. Okay. So with Sean, where were we at exactly? I'm sorry.
Nothing. We were.
You rolled a, what was it?
I rolled a 22 for the history check on that you asked about Genasi's.
Okay. So I want to make a point that you know about some things that Asliar can do, and you want to take note of this. Okay. You know Asliar has the ability to cast the spell Maelstrom. I suggest you look that up sometime and see what it does. You also know that this drowned kiss that Asliar does almost works as like a divine smite for Tamyra, in that he can add it to any attack that he has, spell or melee, and cause it to grapple someone, and they have to roll a strength or dexterity check to get the water off of them, or they start suffocating for a certain amount of rounds as long as he keeps concentration on it. Okay, which is very deadly. You also know that in a limited amount of time, he can transpose and move through water, become a mist if something happens at him like a large area spell, and reappear up to 30 foot away, almost like a misty step. And he has the ability to do a version of Eldritch Blast that is called Blade Shower that is extremely deadly. The sword that Asliar uses is almost, it's called an epoch. It's a very straight pointed blade that was used by military people a long time ago to pierce armors. Okay, it's a rapier, but it's a little wider and very stiff. Okay, and when Asliar does this, you have seen different serpents and different tentacles and stuff get up on the ship before. And when he has cast this, you have seen up to 6 of these blades shoot through the air and literally turn something like pincushion it and shit with this spell. So those are some things that, with Miasha talking about the abilities of Genasi's in general, that you are thinking and adding this to your strategy. Okay. And she mentions one last thing to you, and we're going to move on. She goes, and on the subject of trust, whether it be earned or given, or however it would suit you the best. You know, I'm sure all this has just recently happened from what I've heard, and this boiling point, this pot boiling over now. But you've been on the same ship with this drowned kiss for quite some time. Was there never any trust between you over this whole time, or have you seen this coming?
I've had my suspicions about him for quite some time, but kept quiet about it because of both of our mutual respect for our captain, although beginning to think other things are at play in that aspect. However, I do know very well who we're dealing with, which is why I need the complete trust of my compatriots if we are going to take him on. He is, in fact, quite lethal in battle. I've seen him fight before. And
Okay. So
you don't want to take him on solo.
she goes, well, if we do this correctly and we can use your knowledge, then I don't see why we would be.
Mm-hmm.
And when she says we, you get an idea that she's somewhat invested in this now. Okay. Let's go ahead and stop that conversation there.
Okay.
Sylowen and Brahmus, you guys have won. Are you standing there and watching the rest of them compete now? Or are you going over to the bar with Sha-dae and them? Are you hanging out to watch what Tamyra gets into? What would you two like to do after your conversation about Sylowen's victory?
I'm gonna go hang out with my dwarf.
Okay, so let's name this guy. What did I said something earlier, but I'll be damned if I can remember. Let's say
He looks like Josh Bro.
Albright or something like that.
What is it?
I thought you said something like Albright, something
Yeah,
like
let's go
that.
ahead
I could
and
be
do
wrong.
that.
I could be really wrong.
Middle name's Madeline.
Madeline. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your conversation. I just didn't know how like metagamey that was.
No, it's cool. His name would be Ulran.
Ulran.
Ulbrein. Okay.
Okay,
Get
and
much
I guess I
more
say to
than that.
Brahmus, hey, like I'll check in with you soon.
Okay. So with
Uh,
that,
I think we lagged again.
oh no, you're lagging just a little bit, but not very much. It's not too bad.
Okay, like I guess I tell Brahmus that I'll head up or I'll catch up with him like real soon. I'm just gonna go and thank this kind gentleman over here.
God, listen to her. This is gonna
Don't
get
do
crazy.
anything I wouldn't do.
As this comes out of the okay. So, and this is a neat moment for you, Brahmus, because you're seeing her with a smile on her face outside the city. And you know what the thing is? You haven't even seen her look back at her back to notice that the other wing's not there. Hardly since we've got up and done this. It's not even on her mind anymore. The new confidence that you've given her in training her how to do this and all these things and the couple drinks that she's had, she's moving on and she's empowered. And that was your whole goal through this whole thing. And you're seeing that happen right before your eyes. You're seeing Sylowen become something beyond what she was supposed to become at the Avian City. And that was your whole damn point. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big win for you. Okay. With that, Tamyra, do you want to say anything to Oma? Are you looking around for someone else that may be wanting to join in? You see Oma has this awesome looking shawl that's over her that seems to be quilted from dwarves that is within her same color scheme. And she's looking at it and she's tracing out some of the intricate dwarven runes that seem to be etched into it. Just things of that nature. Are you saying anything to her, or are you looking for someone that might be your next competitor? What are you doing?
I'll I wish obviously Alex was here, but I definitely want to give her a compliment and kind of direct the conversation of, hey Oma, what do you want to do? And in that being be supportive in whatever she wants to do. I will accompany her because she didn't do so great in the other game. So I want to be her hype woman. And whatever she wants to do, I'm behind her.
Okay. Well, as soon as that happens, and the dwarf comes over to her and he holds up a battle axe and he holds it at her. He says, "What are you thinking, hero? You want to be the next one?" And he holds the axe up at her and it literally eclipses her head. And you see her kind of look back as she's looking at this big axe, and she looks at you like she moves, like she's moving around a visor and getting to the sun. She looks around at you and kind of goes like that, and just shakes her head no. And with that, off in the distance, Kara, you hear something. You hear this. Hey! And a bunch of people start cheering. You hear mugs clanking and things like that. As you look over to the side, you can see someone is standing up and cheering like this, and their hands are being untied from someone else's hand. And someone just slammed somebody in an arm wrestling contest over to the side, and you hear that and it piques your interest. What are you doing?
I nudge Oma and say, let's go over here, and we head that way.
As you do, you turn around, you take one step, and I want you to roll a perception check of disadvantage.
Okay.
She has wisdom. Okay. 12,
And you asked for this
Gotta
shit,
be
by the way.
the-
So
gotta
what's
start
getting ready to
shooting.
happen to you, Kara? You asked for this shit. So go ahead. What'd you roll?
14.
You rolled a 14.
A 14.
A 14? It's not that high. It's not that good. As you turn around and go to step onto something, you almost trip and fall as you seem to have stepped over top of some small individual that was standing in front of you wanting to have a conversation with you. You didn't notice them. In this crowded thing, I'd like for you to roll a dexterity saving throw, please.
Can I give her guidance from across the bar? Like,
No, you may not.
So is that just a D20 plus my dex?
Absolutely.
It's going to be a 16.
oh, that's not bad.
It's not too bad. Okay. As you do and you fall over, you see a bald head with wiry black hair sticking out of the sides like this, and you smell the very strong smell of cologne here. Ah, what? God, the mountain's falling. You're like this. And as you go to stumble and fall over top of this person, there happens to be one of the main pillars and that goes to the ceiling in this place. You're able to catch it, and you grab onto the collar of his shirt, and it stretches, and you hear a couple hairs get pulled in here. Ah! And you grab him and stop him from hitting the floor, and you stand him back up again. He's like, ah. You guys are always just trying to beat stuff up everywhere you go, aren't you? And it's Dan DeVito, practically. Do you remember what that character's name even was?
Art and
I can't. I mean, I could look it up, but let's just move forward. Okay. For now,
Reginald.
what is
Art
called?
was the map.
Yeah, I have it written down, but it's another book. So anyway, as he does that, you notice there's a jingle in his pockets. He has quite a bit of gold and stuff on him and whatnot. And he looks back up at you and he goes, "That's the perfect timing though, because I've been kind of looking for you. Since I shared, some of my time and some of my creation and stuff with you, do you have just a minute so we could talk about a business proposition?" He just kind of smiles and looks
His
at
name
you.
is Zand.
Zand. Okay. What do you say to Zand?
What was that?
What do you say to him as he wants to have a talk with you and he has a business proposition for you?
I get down on one knee and lean my ear in.
He looks over at you and he looks at your arm for a minute. He gets kind of wide-eyed like that and he's looking at you. And he takes his hair and he's kind of slicking it back and he slicks his eyebrows back for a minute and he kind of, well, see, the thing is, some of these people in here, they're not going to respect you the way I do. Because I've seen what you can do. But some of these guys over here, they're going to see the pretty hair and the pretty smile, and they're not going to think that you could kick their ass. He goes, so take advantage of that, and let's make some money. You follow me?
Tamyra gives him like a nudge and she says, I don't play for money. You can do what you want, but I'm going to go kick these guys' ass.
Well, okay, if that's what you want, I'll cover it. Oh, I got it all covered. Art's been really beating the hell out of people in the square lately, and I'm doing pretty good. Thanks to you guys and showing me some different things I could do to configure him to make him. And he goes in this long, like 30-second thing talking about gears and levers and buttons on and you're just kind of like,
I grab him by his collar again and we just go towards the table.
okay, okay, if we're going, okay, yeah, I got it. Good. Wow. So as you guys go over there seems to be several different people, including a half ogre. There seems to be another very stout dwarf. that's over there standing, there seems to be, I don't know how I would describe this. How would I describe this? Okay, it seems to be someone that is halfway made of stone and halfway not. There are parts of them that seem to be stone-like. They have a shaved head, and they're wearing like a tunic kind of clothing, and they have these big, really heavy bracers around their wrists that seem to be made of some kind of copper color, that seem to have some deep engraved emblems on them, and they're bare armed and stuff, and they have them around their hands and their ankles. Okay, and they have kind of a blank expression, almost looking like Vin Diesel, kind of, with that kind of tone to his skin. But you see parts of him that glimmer, that almost like there's parts of him that are made of earth, like stone and things like that. It's really interesting character. And he speaks kind of in that low, gravelly voice like he does, and he's saying stuff to the other, and he kind of looks over cockily at the other ones, and he goes, "So who's next then?" And he's like, "Because I've been waiting for a while, and I know it's my turn now." And he walks over. What was his name again? Begins with a Z. What was it?
Zand.
Zand. Okay, sorry. Zand says, "She's right here. I got her. You're up." And he says that to you. Roll perception check to see if you've ever seen anything like this before, or you know the etiquette here.
That's only a 9.
Okay, you have not. You've seen the different people and whatnot arm wrestle back in Tordain, where you're from, and you beat most all of them except for a couple different people. One of them is the one that you were actually really good friends with. We talked to say looks like Chris Helmsworth, looks like the Thor character. His name was Amy. Do you remember that character's name? I can't remember what his name was. I'll have to look it up, but he was someone that moved up through the ranks with you, and you two kind of competed for Ryland's, approval. Start with a T. Trevin? I think it was Trevin was his name. But you always had a lot of respect for him, and he's the only person that could really beat you out of all the different swords of the White Coast, out of all the different paladins for her there. And you understand arm wrestling pretty well. I'm going to let you use your proficiency bonus in it because you've done it quite a bit and extensively. And this person sits down there, and they aren't quite as tall as you, but they are broader than you. And this half earth, half man sits down and folds out the white, the off-white tunic from around him and sits down on this stool and leans it forward, and it creaks under the weight of the man. And he stands up there and he drives his elbow down into this circular spot on top of the table. And he says, "She'll do." And he just kind of stares up at you. You see the seat on the other side, and he says, he goes, "Listen, you're going to have to hit him hard, and you're going to have to hit him. You're going to have to hit him fast. I'll see if I can do some shit talking and get him distracted or something for you."
And Tamyra immediately puts her hand over Danny DeVito's mouth and just gives him a nice shove back into the audience.
"I'm taking bets." Where'd he go? Yeah, taking bets. Okay, so he's in the background having a ball with this. You go over there and you sit down. I would like for you to do a performance check. I want to see how cool and collected you are with all these different people looking at you. What'd you get, Kara? I couldn't hear you.
17.
17. Okay, not bad. Oh wow, the crowd actually only got a 2. You are very confident. I would say you can tell me how you want to sit your shield down, where you want to put your flail. If you want to describe anything to me for theatrics, you're more than welcome to, or we can just go ahead and get right into this. It's up to you.
Get right into it.
Okay. And once we get through this match, we'll call it quits for tonight because of the time. But I do want to let everyone have their own little bit of fun here, and this is for you, okay? Okay. Except for Jeremy, because Jeremy kind of lost. Everyone else had a really good time tonight, too. It's good stuff.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Ass whippings were plentiful. Okay, so D&D arm wrestling.
As I said, couldn't be prouder.
Right on. I couldn't be prouder. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to imagine this is a gauge, okay, which in the middle is a tie. Then you're going to have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And whoever wins the most, because this can go back and forth, but whoever wins the most and pins the other person is like that. So you have your central spot, then you have 3 stages to going down, then you have 3 stages to victory. Okay, and you're going to be doing strength throws against them, and at the start, it's going to be a dexterity versus a dexterity, and then it's going to be a strength versus a strength. Okay. And you're more welcome to add theatrics. Tell me about tricks you're trying. I'm always up for something different in this. It's fun. We can create as we go.
Am I close to her?
Do you want to be?
Yes. I mean, I want to be within my hot
You
guy,
drag
but
your boy toy over with you.
yeah.
You're
So
a handsome fisherman.
Can I finally cast guidance on her?
You can, but you have to tell me what you're saying when you do it.
Wait, no, it's not an inspiration. It's just a cantrip.
Damn it, she got away with it again. If you would want to, does guidance help with ability saving throws, or what does it do?
It's I'm pretty sure it's ability. Let me check real quick. Yes.
By the way, Kara, what is your bonus? Your proficiency bonus plus your strength bonus. What is that total?
7.
All right. Guidance is a cantrip. It lasts for 1 minute. You touch one willing creature. Once before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to one ability check of its choice.
Okay. In the description of that spell, does it say it's somatic? Does it have an S beside it?
Yes.
Well, then as a DM, I'm going to say that you have to say something to make the spell work. So touche with
fine.
your rules.
Fine, but I'm not going to say. So I walk over, I touch her in the middle of her forehead, and I say, Tamyra.
He just straight up just gets you.
Straight up, like right in the middle of her forehead. And
Yeah.
I say, Samira. I just said Samira. I just mixed our characters. Anyways, Tamyra.
She's stage 2 drunk, yes.
Yeah. No, I'm still giggly. I go, may you be as successful as me tonight. And then I walk away. Back to my boy toy.
Oh, that's
Brahmus groans. I know he does.
Brahmus, roll a constitution check to make sure Mirk doesn't throw up. Dude, and I'm going to tell you what.
That's a fail.
That's a fail. So, that's terrible. And what's great is you are charming the pants. Well, I didn't mean to be that literal, but you are charming the pants off this guy. He is completely enthralled with you. Not only are you extremely accurate with his lances, stop it.
Wait, should I go ahead and roll another charisma check for him?
I don't see why not, Sylowen.
All right, let's see.
I can't come up for a reason.
Okay. Not bad. No, I like to see if he thought that was hot or not.
Okay.
What would that be?
Well, go ahead and do it with advantage because you have him hooked. He's already even told you that in his horrible poem earlier. 2d20s, add your charisma bonus plus your proficiency bonus to it. Tell me what you got.
Proficiency? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's going to be literally a dirty 20.
He rolled a 2. He is. I mean, dude, this is bad. You need to not break his heart, Sylowen.
He's in love. No, if I leave,
Right.
like, I'm gonna go ahead and get his address. You
This is
know,
terrible.
Send him an owl later.
I'll send him a raven.
He would tell you that his address would be your heart.
Well, that's not gonna be helpful later down the road.
See, you got him. Okay, so moving on. Sorry, as the spotlight shifts yet again, and we shot back on Tamyra trying to win this thing. He's over here dancing. You have a blessing now in a weird, like wine smelling spot in the middle of your forehead. Okay, so you're rubbing it up. So you have a plus. What is it? 1d4 to just one throw. One. Okay. So as you guys start, I want you to roll 1d20, and you're going to add your dexterity bonus to this. And tell me what you get as you lock arms with him, and he goes down, and his hand feels like stone. I mean, it's much stronger and different and stuff. And when you get that stance, normally you can grab on a person and feel their give and pull. And he is just not a budging creature. And you know you're not going to take it easy on this guy. Okay, so go ahead and roll your roll.
Yeah. That's only a 12.
Okay.
Do you have weapon specialist?
Oh wait, but I can add the 4 to that. So let me. I'm gonna use it on that, and I rolled a 4, so that's gonna be 16.
But can you also add your weapon specialist to it?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not using a weapon. I'm using my hand.
Well, that's right.
Okay, on that,
Hand
you don't
is a
feel
weapon,
like you
right?
quite performed the way you wanted to, and as you hit really quick like that, you feel your tendons pulling your arm a little bit as he was strong, and he takes you down to notch 1 of loss. As he hits and takes you down like 33% of the way and hits hard, he starts to rotate his shoulder back behind his wrist, and he's just staring down at you with unnatural crevices forming in his head, almost like cliffs that have been forged in the side of a canyon. Okay. On that, we are here. Okay. Now we're doing strength checks. As that happens, go ahead and roll a 1d20 plus your 7. Tell me what you get.
Turn it up.
19.
You guys tied. So as he went to go ahead and go the rest of the way through you, you put the brakes on him. Do you say anything to him?
I just don't break eye contact. There's no words, just full on eye contact.
Nice, man.
Wait,
Good deal.
Brian,
Yeah,
what is your drink doing?
it is flashing multiple colors.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
there was a
cool.
sensor in the middle of my mug, so when I hit it,
Oh,
it
nice.
comes in those colors. It's
Love that.
It's a
fantastic.
disco.
I actually used this and pulled over a car one time. I acted like I was a cop.
Oh my God.
I had this in the console of my old Ford Explorer. And this person was creeping down the road when I was coming home from work from Walmart years ago. And I took this and I got it and rode their ass for a little bit. All they saw was my headlights. And I slammed my hand on this and put it out the window and stood on top of my car.
Oh
And was
my
driving
God.
like that. And they pulled over. And I went all around them. So we've been through a lot, me and this mug.
Cheers.
Alright, sorry
So
to
now that that's
interrupt.
recorded and on YouTube, I'm straight going to jail for that. I don't care. Let's just roll. What did you get on your roll? Let's do it again. Another strength one. You
Sorry.
stopped him tight. No, it's fine. Go ahead and roll again. Strength check.
And I'm doing my roll plus the 7 or just plus my strength?
You remember you have proficiency in strength, I believe, don't you?
No, I'm wisdom and charisma.
Your wisdom and charisma. So on this one, it would just be your strength plus 1 from your proficiency bonus too, because I said you've practiced this and you've done this quite a bit.
Oh, okay. So that's even better. So that's going to be a 24.
Oh wow. Okay, you damn near take him back past half again as you come back and bring it straight up to the middle again. Okay, one more point and you would have taken him 2 steps. Okay, if you beat him by more than so much, it goes extra steps, and he damn near wasn't able to contain you. He has to hunker down, and you can actually hear some of the stone and stuff in his arm shift as he gets another grip on the side of the table, and it rattles a little bit. Now I would like for you to roll another one.
Not as good. So that one's gonna be an 11.
Okay. He got a 6 total.
Yes.
You go down. Now you are winning now, and now you have momentum. So I'm going to let you pull off a move, some kind of move that works towards this, and I'm going to let you add a 1d4 because now you have momentum build up. So
Okay.
I'll let you choose if you want to do this with dexterity or strength. Which one do you want to use here?
They're both the same. They're both +3.
Okay.
So I'll do strength.
So I'll go strength. I'll let you add a 1d4 extra for some kind of move that you put on him. I'll say as you were starting to take him over, you actually sit back and start to pull him across the table, which spreads his arm and his grip out. And it takes the strength to you and away from him and your momentum. Go ahead and roll your roll and tell me what you get.
Okay. I mean 19.
That's with the 1d4 added? Okay. You guys hit and it halts and it doesn't go anywhere as he catches that momentum and he looks at you and he goes, clever. Okay, now without the 1d4, straight up strength roll to strength roll. He's just down about 33%.
17.
Back in the middle.
Oh, shit.
He beat you by 4. Okay, let's do it again.
There we go. 23.
You took him down 2 steps. You beat him by 10.
Nice.
You took him down to 66%. Okay, and once per turn, you used your 1d4 already. When you take someone down 2 steps, you're going to get another trick. So if you describe to me something you're doing here to finish him off, describe it to me, and then you can add another 1d4 to your next roll.
I'm going.
His face.
Sylowen said I should lick his face. Not gonna do that.
Touch his forehead.
Does mother do the mother lick the thumb and just wipe his face? No.
Dude.
She's
Simba.
no. Tamyra notices that he has a beer, and so while she still has his arm locked, she reaches over with her other hand, takes a sip of his beer, and sets it down.
Oh my. Roll intimidation, please.
Intimidation.
Dude, that's shitty. That's some pirate bar stuff there.
That's gonna be an 18 for intimidation.
Dude, you crushed him on that. Okay, go ahead and roll your strength with an extra 1d4 added and tell me what you get. Damn, dude.
Nat 20, no lie.
Are you shitting me?
Plus my 7, plus another 3, so that's gonna be a 30.
That's awesome. And at that moment, you take that last drink and you kind of sit down and wipe your mouth with your forearm. Done. Bam. And you pin him down like that. And he looks at you and he just kind of grunts. And he kind of looks down and he takes his arm up and he's holding it like that. He just kind of gives you a long look up and down, grabs out his coin and slams it down on the table angrily and stands up and turns and just walks away from you. Doesn't do anything else other than that. What are you saying?
Because he didn't say anything, there was no gloating. He took the loss respectfully. Tamyra does not say anything. And then, she looks at Sylowen and kisses her hand and then kisses her forehead. That was to Sylowen.
Nice. Okay. So with that,
Sylowen's just snogging a door.
Sylowen's just having a great time. So with that,
She's snogging her dwarf man in the background.
snogging.
Snogging.
So that's the name of this episode.
Sylowen snogging.
You guys are magical. I mean, the way you come up with these.
Snogging with Sylowen.
Snogging with Sylowen. I don't have to write it down. It's here. It's permanented now. I'll never lose it. Okay. So, That was fun. That was a good time. And, like I say, I know it seems like we're moving slow through these, but there's a lot of fun to be had in here. I hope everyone's enjoying this. We'll get to some action. We'll get to some maps, but this is just what it is. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone that joined in tonight, was able to hang out. It was a pretty good time. Hopefully, Rachel, I did your character justice. Did it seem like I represent her pretty well, Sean, at work? Okay. Ignatius is always.
Yeah, she still felt really shady to me. So.
Well, you are a little bitter, Sylowen. Let's be honest. For someone giggly, you're throwing a lot of shade around this place, is all I'm saying. And that's Sean's character's name, and you're doing it worse than he is. That's all.
It's Sylowen snogging in the shade. With Sha-dae.
Okay, cool. So save some for the sequel. Okay, it's all good. We're going to use up all of our S words. Then what will we do in a month from now? So anyway, thanks again. That was a lot of fun. Like always, I'll stop the recording. We'll bullshit for like 5 minutes, and everyone gets some sleep and do their thing. So with that, thanks. And we'll hopefully get some more folks in here on Wednesday. And if not, we'll do this again next Sunday. Thanks, guys.